Call now to find out how you can save thousands for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. You could save thousands on future auto repairs. Our specialists are standing by for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-423-4161. Vehicle Protection Plan pricing is at an all-time low. Plus, drivers who purchase this coverage today will receive rental car options, free roadside assistance. 800-423-4161 now for your free quick quote. That's 800-423-4161. What do you have to lose? Call 800-423-4161. Again, 800-423-4161.
Fall is the perfect season to cozy up in your new dream home. Hi, I'm Gary McDonald, and we have a few move-in ready homes waiting for you and your family in some of our most popular neighborhoods. Enjoy the highest quality craftsmanship and luxury amenities that have come to define a Gary McDonald home without the wait.
Visit our website or call Brian Hurdle at 559-307-1761 for more information. Gary McDonald Homes, California Contractors License number 847905.
Prepare your senses for all that the Fresno Home Show has to offer. Sponsored by Balanced Comfort Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing. Experience the sights, sounds, tastes, and smells this weekend at the Fresno Fairgrounds. More info at fresnoshows.com.
The original KMJ, 580 AM, 1059 FM, Fresno, a Cumulus media station.
Mostly sunny, 59 at Radio City. It's 2 o'clock. I'm Liz Kern in the KMJ newsroom. A major injury accident in Madera County affecting traffic on the 41. The head-on collision taking place around 11:45 today. The CHP says it happened between Jules Vista Drive and Highway 145. The CHP describing the injuries as major, trying to avoid the area. With just days until the election, President Biden visits California at a tech company in San Diego that's benefiting from the passage of the CHIPS Act. Biden making his case for what he and the Democrats have done to pull the economy out of the deep pandemic recession. ABC's Andy Field has the latest.
The president reminding voters that only Democrats voted to reduce senior prescription drug prices, saying if drug companies overcharge,
they're now going to have to write a check to Medicare to cover the difference between what they charge and the price of inflation.
Those recently passed laws also cap the price of insulin for many patients. Andy Field, ABC News, Washington.
Pink slips at Twitter today. Half the staff fired. Here's ABC's Derek Dennis.
Word came in a company email with the ominous subject line, "Your role at Twitter." Then the message, "Today is your last working day at the company." It went on to say about 50% of the workforce at Twitter had been impacted, roughly half of the company's 7,500 workers.
We're escalating our call to Twitter's advertisers, who make up 90% of the company's revenue.
Attorney and Free Press co-CEO Jessica Gonzalez says other corporations can send Twitter CEO Elon Musk a message.
Stop their advertising.
Another tactic, a class action lawsuit already filed alleging Musk laid off workers without the required notice under California law. Derek Dennis, ABC News.
At Fresno City Hall, a swearing-in ceremony today. Police Chief Paco Balderrama welcoming 61 new members to the police department, 43 new police officers, as well as dispatchers, community service officers, records technicians, and crime scene investigators. Valley residents can voice their opinions about a proposed pesticide notification program. We get the details from KMJ's Ag Director Don York.
The California Department of Pesticide Regulation plans to hold several workshops to get feedback on developing a statewide pesticide application notification system. For the Central Valley, an in-person workshop is slated for Wednesday, the 9th, at the Orosi Memorial Hall in Tulare County. There's also a virtual workshop being offered on the 10th. The California Department of Pesticide Regulation says California will be the first state in the nation to develop a system to provide more information to the public before pesticide applications. John York, KMJ News.
No winning ticket last night, so the Powerball jackpot climbs to $1.6 billion. That sets a new record lottery prize. Saturday is the drawing for the Powerball jackpot. Also, don't forget to turn your clocks back this weekend. On Wall Street, the Dow ends up 401 points, closing at 32,403. The S&P 500 added 50 points. NASDAQ gained 133. Now here's Fox 26's Justin Willis with our Friday forecast.
Temperatures staying pretty well below normal across the valley. 62 the afternoon high in Fresno. We're normally at 70. Cold with overnight lows in the upper 30s and low 40s. Winter storm watch beginning Sunday and going through Wednesday. 1 to 2 inches of rain expected across the valley during that time. And 1 to 4 feet of snow expected in the Sierra starting at 4,000 feet. From the Fox 26 Weather Center for KMJ, I'm Justin Willis.
With news on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks, and always streaming at KMJNow.com. I'm Liz Kern, News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ.
Thank you, Liz. In Fresno, Ashland at Thorne, we're looking at a non-injury accident in Los Banos, bound I-5, just near Nice. A report of a fire there. Porterville on the 190, 2 miles near the Ponderosa Lodge. Injury accident being reported. And on Highway 41 near 145, an injury accident there causing some slowdown. Next update, 217. It's Greg Lane, KMJ Traffic.
Ever wonder why your business doesn't show up on online search maps, but your competitors do? It's hundreds of things. Things that Cumulus Boost can identify and fix. And that's how we boost your findability. CumulusBoost.com. CUMULUS Boost.com.
Now, the Valley's Afternoon Drive. Philip Teresi and Skip Echeverria. From AM Radio 580. To the internet, KMJNow.com. From Warren G. Harding to Let's Go Brandon. From 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. It's the Afternoon Drive with Philip and Skip. 100 years of KMJ. News, talk, radio.
206 at News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Friday installment of Your Afternoon Drive. Phone numbers here are 490-5858. Toll free, you can join us at 800-776-5858. On Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You'll follow the show at Drive KMJ. And you can watch us streaming live on YouTube, Facebook Live, and Twitch.tv also at Drive KMJ. Joshua Weekly is standing by to screen your calls this afternoon as I join Skip Echeverria back in the KMJ studios.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Got a little bit coming up today. Fresno City Councilman Mike Carbasi is going to join us to talk about yesterday's decision to postpone making a decision about an energy study to decide whether or not we're going to try and develop municipal power in the city of Fresno. We have a school alert that went on school district that went on high alert due to a social media threat, and synagogues in New Jersey, Los Angeles, San Francisco, New York, all reacting to bad behavior on social media. But we have a buzz question for you at KMJNow.com. We'll start with that. It's brought to you by the Boz Allergy, Asthma, and Sinus Centers. Today, the buzz question asks, daylight saving time ends Sunday, and we fall back an hour. Would you rather fall back and spring forward, or would you rather just have one clock all year round? Let us know what you think. That buzz question, again, sponsored by the Boz Allergy, Asthma, and Sinus Center. Skip, how do you feel about daylight saving time?
It's getting dark already early. So when we change it back, it's going to be like 4 o'clock and everybody's going to want to go home and go to bed.
Yeah.
So that's the part that I do not like.
But that's standard time.
And therefore I'm still confused, like which parts of the country don't do it, which countries do it, blah, blah, blah. I would be fine if we just decided to stay with whatever we're at right now. I mean, you adjust to what you adjust to what you adjust to.
Well, and that's exactly it. You adjust to what you adjust to. The clock is just a number. It's an agreed upon pacing so that society can function. I think that we should get rid of it entirely. I think we should get rid of time zones entirely. Go to Greenwich Mean Time.
See, that I feel like would be a little difficult just because if you're trying to like communicate with people in different time zones, and then you got to learn what time zone they're on in terms of is it day or night
but that's the thing is right now we've got to convert for time zones. If we don't have to convert for time zones anymore. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Afternoon Drive. It is 9:09 p.m. GMT, and it's 9:09 p.m. GMT in New York, and it's 9:09 GMT everywhere right now.
But then, like, 9 p.m. here is going to be the middle of the night, and how do you coordinate business?
No, it's 9 p.m. right now.
So it's 9 p.m. here, and it would be 9 p.m. in New York.
Yeah.
But so then let's say we want to have a business meeting at 10 o'clock p.m. It's going to be the middle of the night, like really, really the middle of the night over there because the sun and the moon are going to be in a different place.
But you're going to know that.
No, I don't like that part. No. I like morning being morning here, morning being morning on the East Coast, morning being morning in Spain.
The sun dictates when it's morning, not the clock, which is kind of part of the point of the whole daylight saving time thing.
Oh, God. It's Friday. Now I feel lost.
Yes, as will everybody who shows up to work an hour early, an hour late, or
that doesn't happen anymore, though, because everybody has a cell phone.
I agree. So time doesn't matter. So why do we keep shifting the clocks?
My favorite was an event that I had to do once. I think I had to set up the event for another DJ, and the sales rep showed up, I think early because it was later or whatever, but they were hungover. So they didn't recognize that it was the fallback period.
This is
or
Rock
whatever.
Station days.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So I was just like, should have checked.
I think we should do away with it. I understand what its function was when society was still primarily agrarian. Because it really was about keeping banks open at hours that farmers could function against in relation to the harvest. I'm 100% good with making sure that we continue to maintain banking hours that work well for our producers, be they agricultural or anything else. And we've all got those smartphones in our pockets. So you can deposit your checks right there, anytime, day or night. It's even more convenient than an ATM. Click with the picture and you're done.
Yeah, but I do think that we have to have some sort of understanding of when people sleep and then
when the sun goes down.
Yeah, but the sun's going to go down here at a different time than it's going to go down. I don't know. I'm confused. Stop. This is why I don't have to do drugs, because Philip will run me around in circles.
I'm not running you in circles. I'm giving you a straight line. GMT, 9:12 p.m. on the afternoon drive.
Okay. That's never going to happen. Do they use GMT for flights? Is that how that works? Okay. Yeah, because you would need to because you're kind of going back and forth.
Blowing through time zones. Mm-hmm. Like all of modern technology allows all of us to do constantly now.
Except we are still humans and have to exist with some sort of rhythm because that's part of our overall well-being. You sleep when it's dark. You get up when it's light.
It doesn't matter what the clock says. You're exactly right.
Is this how today's going to go? Is this it? This right here? This is what I came to work for? It's Friday. Stop confusing me.
Okay.
And if I need to know what time it is, I, like every civilized human being, go to my world clock feature on my phone and look.
Exactly. You've got your phone. So if you need to know whether or not it's a reasonable time to call somebody in, say, London, you can pull up your phone and look and see whether or not the sun's up.
Are we done? It gets confusing. This becomes like this is where like when you can get yourself all wrapped around ideas and then it makes you discombobulated.
Yeah.
That's what I'm feeling right now.
Okay. Yeah, time is just a number. It is a system that is imperfect, that is created by humans. It's part of why we have a leap year.
Mm-hmm. Or would you prefer to have a 24-hour clock as opposed to a 2/12 clock, whatever you call that?
Every airline pilot, every ship's captain, every medical doctor, every first responder is already on 24-hour time, not to mention, of course, all of the military.
Yeah. I mean, I'm okay with it. If you really want to make a change, Philip, I can make that change, but I can't make the change over to the other thing you were talking about. That's just wild. Plus, how else are you supposed to go back in time when you're flying from East Coast to West Coast?
Okay, so it's 2,100 hours, 14 minutes on the afternoon drive.
Coming up, we're going to talk about great white sharks.
You don't like it? Okay, guys.
No, it's making me confused, and I got to get into topics like poverty profiteers and the Fresno City Council and fentanyl overdoses.
So go answer the buzz question. Are you ready to be done with daylight saving time, or do you want to continue to have some variation of this argument every 6 months for the rest of your life.
What's your answer?
Be done with it.
Okay, that's 74% so far of
Yeah.
people responding.
Yeah, I am completely on board with making sure that, and some of this would actually get solved just by naked capitalism anyways, and has been solved mostly by technology. I understand that there are certain elements of society that are going to function in bankers' hours. I am completely in favor of encouraging the actual banks to make sure that they have some availability for people who have extended schedules. As somebody who worked graveyards, which is so much less important than, I don't know, growing everybody's food, I remember how challenging it was to do anything when my clock was, exactly 12 hours inverted from the rest of society. Now I can deposit my paycheck with my phone if I don't already have direct deposit. I can make all my brokerage calls with an email. The majority of what we need to do in a bank can now be done anywhere you've got signal. And so what's left? Grocery shopping?
Schools?
Sure, schools.
It's a pretty big chunk of most people's lives, right? Or the lives of their children.
So does it alter your kids' health and welfare if they're getting, and you like the 24-hour clock, right?
Yes.
So if they're getting out of school at 2,200 hours?
I'm not cut out for this today. I just flat out do not like, I'm going to be like an old man who's not going to change his mind on anything right now. I don't like it. I'm not listening.
Okay. All right.
I cannot wrap my head around that.
Okay.
I can't wrap my head around how you're going to be able to do that and then have relationships across like time zones or work across time zones or whatnot. And I've done some of the overnight stuff, or I did super early mornings for a while. That's a hard way to do things.
And once again, technology to the rescue. Send a text. You up?
Coming up, we got Council Member Carbasi. I'm so confused.
Mike Carbasi on the way. The poverty pimps are back, and a kerfuffle in Sanger over a well-intentioned effort by a Sanger church to help folks get their hands on Narcan. Talk about all this when we get back. It's the Afternoon Drive at News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ.
At 1417, traffic looks like this. In Fresno, Ashland to Thorne, got a non-injury accident there. In Los Banos on southbound I-5 near Nees Avenue, they got a report of a fire there. In Porterville, heads up on the 190. It's 2 miles right by the Ponderosa Lodge. There's an injury accident and road blockage. And in Tulare, northbound 99 at Bardsley, got a hazard that's causing traffic to slow. Next update, 2:33. I'm Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
This report is sponsored by News Nation. Chris Cuomo is back with a new show on a new network. Catch Cuomo, weeknights on News Nation at 5 and 8 p.m. Pacific. To find News Nation on your television provider, go to newsnationnow.com/join us.
Buildings Unlimited will be celebrating 20 years serving Central California and the West Side. Buildings Unlimited, specializing in concrete tilt warehousing, cold storage, processing facilities, and commercial pre-engineered metal buildings. Buildings Unlimited is your single point of contact from design to the completion, proudly featuring new core steel, manufactured in the USA. Buildings Unlimited, where the only limit is your imagination. Call our experienced team for a free consultation at 559-485-9948 or visit us at buildingsunlimited.net.
Ad paid for by Montreal Drugstore. Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. PowerPill allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 per pill? Call today and get 50 Viagra pills for only $99. This could cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call this if you want Viagra at the lowest prices. Never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 per pill. Call 800-204-0017 today to save up to $500 and get 50 pills for just $99. Power Pill is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 800-204-0017 to take your call now. Call 800-204-0017. That's 800-204-0017. Again, 800-204-0017. Attention! This is a special alert for all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an overpriced auto warranty or no warranty coverage at all. Due to the increase of new and used car prices, repair costs, and the price of gas, people are keeping their cars longer than ever, which is why CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on covered auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can save thousands for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. You could save thousands on future auto repairs. Our specialists are standing by for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-423-4161. Vehicle Protection Plan pricing is at an all-time low. Plus, drivers who purchase this coverage today will receive rental car options, free roadside assistance, and free towing. Call 800-423-4161 now for your free quick quote. That's 800-423-4161. What do you have to lose? Call 800-423-4161. Again, 800-423-4161.
Ad paid for by Sentinel Group. Attention parents of premature babies. If your child was born prematurely and was later diagnosed with severe intestinal injuries or necrotizing enterocolitis, also known as NEC, you may be entitled to significant compensation. Several studies have shown a link between cow's milk-based formula and serious intestinal injuries. If your baby was fed a cow's milk-based formula such as Similac, Enfamil, Gerber, or even store-branded cow's milk-based formula and suffered from severe intestinal injuries, call us today. NEC is a severe intestinal illness that often requires surgery and can be fatal 50% of the time. If your child was fed a cow's milk-based formula and later suffered serious intestinal injuries or NEC, you may be entitled to significant compensation. Our attorneys will fight to get you the compensation you deserve, and you pay nothing unless there is a recovery in your favor. Time is limited to file a claim, so call us at 800-784-3702. That's 800-784-3702. Again, 800-784-3702.
It's that time of year again. Bari Olive Oil's annual Harvest Festival, tomorrow from 9 till 3 in Dinuba. They're turning 86 this year and want to celebrate with all of you. Amazing food, fun for the kids, car show for the dads, a little shopping for the ladies, and a blood drive. Join us at this free event tomorrow from 9 till 3 at their place in Dinuba. For more information, give us a call at 595-9260. That's 595-9260. Or go to barioliveoil.com.
Where elections are won and lost. News Talk 580 1059 KMJ. Now, more with Philip and Skip.
That's Philip. I'm Skip. This is the afternoon drive. Happy Friday. Coming up, we'll talk to council member Mike Carbasi about what was supposed to be a plan to make a study to look into the city taking over energy service, and that's been tabled. But right now we go out to Sanger. Now, Philip and I have talked about the fentanyl epidemic and the need for Narcan on multiple occasions. I mean, just like last week, we had Brandon from Clovis Hills on talking about how it was difficult to get Narcan to give out for the trainings.
Yeah.
And so I want to preface this story by saying I absolutely believe we need to get Narcan into people's hands.
Oh, yeah.
However, I'm having a hard time getting really up in arms about a story that we're going to cover right now from Sanger.
Yeah, this is a tricky one because you've got a family suffering a just heartbreaking loss. A 20-year-old child, Sebastian Moreno, died from a fentanyl overdose. And his mother says that she thinks that if they had had Narcan, they could have saved their son. It's gut-wrenching. It makes me sick to my stomach because she might be right. And boy, wouldn't that have been a short route to a better life? But Sebastian's gone, and so she and her husband have been working with Pastor Paul Zavala from Time and Destiny Church in Sanger, trying to get a distribution program for Narcan. So you do family education, how to administer it.
It's like a 5-minute training, yeah.
Yeah. If you've ever done any kind of nasal spray, this is not going to be a long talk. how to use it, and put the bottles in their hands. Pastor Paul has laid hands on hundreds of doses. He's got them in hand, and he's ready to distribute. So he wanted to follow the Sanger Veterans Day Parade with a rally/information/distribution event out at Sanger City Park.
Right. The problem is that the event permit was filed 11 days before the event, and city policy requires a 30-day notice. So initially, the Sanger City manager, Tim Chapa, said that staff initially responded to the applicant and said, we just don't have enough time to look at it. They were offered alternate dates.
So the city of Sanger got this request with 19 days fewer than what they had laid out in their policies as a reasonable turnaround for an event permit. But we're talking about a pastor, a church, doing an informational event and distribution of Narcan, which is inarguably a good thing to do. Here's my question. Are we seeing a situation where we have completely unhelpful and unnecessary rigidity on both sides? Because if this church, I'm assuming this church physically exists somewhere, if this church has a facility where they work out of, and maybe they have a church building, maybe they're one of these churches that works out of like a high school gym.
They have a church at 325 L Street.
So they have a facility. Yes. They don't need a permit to have an event at their own facility.
Right. Now, a whole bunch of people showed up at the meeting making what I think is a heartfelt plea of urgency, which I understand. We've been talking about this for the entire time that I have been working here about getting Narcan to people and obstacles getting there. However, I think sometimes I think sometimes that city plans can be rigid and stuff like that? Yes. I also know that it takes a lot to put on events. And while it sounds really awesome and easy to be like, oh, well, after the veterans thing, we'll do another motorcycle parade and then we'll go do this training and we'll get all these people that are here for the veterans parade. It's just not how that stuff works. It's not as easy as just tacking it on to the end. So instead, what they got the option to do is they can do the motorcycle portion at the park, said the city manager. Oh, yeah. Because by the way, they called a special meeting, but then there weren't enough members present to take a vote because one person recused themselves. So I think you had some people who didn't want to show up and vote on this.
So they weren't able to achieve quorum.
Yes, because one person refrained or recused themselves rather. So do you want to have a parade and an educational thing, or do you want to have the fentanyl get out into people's hands? Because while I understand this could have been in the perfect world something you could put together, sometimes that doesn't work. But I don't think it's the city wanting more people to die from fentanyl. In fact, they're actually doing the training a whole week prior. They're doing it on the 5th. So anybody who needs it, apparently go down and check it out at the Destiny and Time and Destiny and Warrior of Faith is the name of the group.
So Time and Destiny is the church. Warriors of Faith is the motorcycle club that wanted to have the bike rally in the park as an extension of or in support of the Time and Destiny Narcan information and distribution event.
Which is great, but like you don't really get to just tack on to the end of the Veterans Parade.
And this is where I think that there's unnecessary rigidity on both sides. If these guys had a plan, if these guys were coming to the table and look, we got it all laid out, I would say, what's the problem with looking at this in 10 days? If they don't have bathrooms and security and parking, we don't know of any of traffic control and all of that. Yeah, that's the thing is we don't have those details. But if you don't have all of that, avail yourself of the opportunity, because I'm sure Warriors of Faith are going to be riding in the Veterans Day Parade. So avail yourself of the opportunity to advertise this thing. Well, now they're going to hold it tomorrow. So although they're certainly getting publicity out of this. Look, I think it's great that Time and Destiny
I do too.
is doing this information and distribution event. I think it's fantastic that they've managed this. I feel very much that this is a story of two different organizations simply not being good compromisers when the easiest thing in the world would have been a little bit of give on both sides.
Well, and so in the meantime, you do this event. You also get to, apparently they have something else that's going to be taking place at the park. Awesome. And then if you want to raise awareness during the Veterans Parade because you're already in it or whatnot, figure out what you can hand out in terms of not Narcan, but like flyers or whatnot.
Yeah, weird thing to throw off a float.
If you're interested, call this number, come by the church. Because, I do agree that it needs to get into more hands. Absolutely.
And if you're out in Sanger Country and you want to be a part of this, the Narcan training and distribution will take place at Time and Destiny Church, 325 L Street, 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Fresno City Councilman Mike Carbasi joins us in just a minute. We're going to talk about the vote to not vote on the exploration of the thing that we might vote again on later. Right now, it's news time with Liz Kern.
KMJ News now.
The unemployment rate ticks up to 3.7% after U.S. employers add 261,000 jobs in October. President Biden today says boosted semiconductor chip production in the U.S. will ease supply chain problems linked to inflation. He was at a tech company in San Diego this afternoon benefiting from the passage of the CHIPS Act. Viasat Inc. hiring more than 700 veterans, about 10% of its workforce across the country.
We're the only nation in the world that's come out of every crisis stronger than when we went in, and we're going to do it again.
Biden wrapping up his overnight visit here in California. He's headed to Chicago tonight, where he will be attending a political reception. The leader of the Oath Keepers militia group at the center of the January 6th seditious conspiracy trial takes the stand in an unusual move. ABC's Echeverria is in Washington with more.
Stuart Rhodes, leader of the Oath Keepers, attempted to paint the militia group as a civic service organization that provides relief to communities. Lawyers claim the group only came to Washington to serve as security for others attending the pro-Trump rally, and that the group had no political objectives that day. In cross-examinations of government witnesses, attorneys have tried to make the case that prosecutors are overstating the group's true intentions and falsely casting their words and actions as plotting against the government. Ike Ajachi, ABC News, Washington.
All these things and more. All these things. Oh, that's what Christmas means to me, my love. Oh, yeah.
Stevie Wonder bringing his House Full of Toys benefit concert back to the Microsoft Theater in Los Angeles. The holiday event will celebrate its 24th anniversary on December 17th. The slate of performers will be announced in the coming weeks. Last year's House Full of Toys marked its return after a 3-year break, owing to Wonder's successful kidney transplant in 2019, followed by the COVID pandemic. On Wall Street, the Dow ended gaining 401 points, closing at 32,403. 2:32 at KMJ. Valley weather right now, mostly sunny, 60 at Radio City. Here's Fox 26's Justin Willis with our Friday forecast.
Winter storm watch beginning Sunday and going through Wednesday. 1 to 2 inches of rain expected across the valley during that time, and 1 to 4 feet of snow expected in the Sierra starting at 4,000 feet. Temperatures today is staying pretty well below normal across the valley. 62 the afternoon high in Fresno. We're normally at 70. Cold overnight with lows in the upper 30s and low 40s. For KMJ from the Fox 26 Weather Center, I'm Justin Willis.
With news on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks, and always streaming at KMJNow.com. I'm Liz Kern, News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ.
In Tulare right now, northbound 99 to Bardsley, got a hazard that's unknown at this point, but is slowing traffic down, so be aware. In Porterville on the 190 near Ponderosa Lodge, there's an injury accident there. It is now in the cleanup stages because tow trucks have arrived, so that should get back to normal pretty quick. Ashland and Thornton, Fresno, They're dealing with a non-injury accident. Next update is 2:47. I'm Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
This report is sponsored by the California Department of Public Health. Let's face it, going halfway isn't the best way. For instance, would you give your child half a bike helmet or settle for half a haircut? Don't go halfway with your immunity to COVID-19. Stay up to date with your vaccines and boosters. Visit myturn.ca.gov to find one near you.
In 1893, the citizens of Madera voted to break away from Fresno County. Now, the Fresno politicians want to Fresno our Madera. There is one person that can stop the Fresno politicians. That person, Andy Wheeler. Andy Wheeler's lived in District 1 for over 24 years, where he raised his family. And he's a financial advisor, so when it comes to budgets, there's no one better to watch over our tax dollars. He's a school board member and used real science to get our kids back in school. Andy's experience has earned him the endorsements of every Madera County public safety organization, including our own Madera County Sheriff, Tyson Pogue. Sheriff Pogue says, "I'm supporting Andy Wheeler for supervisor in District 1. His professionalism and dedication to the community is second to none." Join Sheriff Pogue, the Madera Deputy Sheriff's Association, the Madera Police Officers Association, and the Madera County Firefighters Local 2881, and vote for Andy Wheeler for supervisor.
Paid for by Andy Wheeler for Madera County Supervisor, District 1, 2022.
And paid for by Money.com. Are you worried about inflation and the rising cost of living? Well, you're not the only one. That's why many recommend investing via a traditional gold IRA. This way, your investment is held in a tax-deferred account, so your contributions and gains will not be taxed. Gold is often thought of as a safe, long-term investment. With demand for gold on the rise, now could be an ideal time to invest. And when you consider current inflation rates, a gold IRA may be a sound move if you're looking for a hedge against risk. Interested in learning more about gold IRAs? Call today to get a free investing kit, and a rep can walk you through the process. 30 million people have already invested in gold. If you're not protected against inflation and market volatility, well, you probably should be. Call 800-869-2045. That's 800-869-2045. Start investing in gold today. Call 800-869-2045. Again, 800-869-2045.
This report is sponsored by Cal Recycle. The easiest way to fight climate pollution is to recycle food scraps. Food rotting in landfills harms our climate, so throw food scraps in the food and yard waste bin, not the trash. For more recycling tips, go to iRecycleSmart.com. Do your part. Recycle smart.
Time's running short, so get your tickets now to The Network, the Valley's first agriculture mixer and fundraiser for everyone in the ag industry to come together and unify as one. The biggest companies and ag leaders will be on hand for an afternoon and evening of networking, great food, and entertainment. Join us November 12th at the Fresno Convention Center for an unforgettable event. Proceeds benefit the family-owned and operated foundation and for renovations of the ag building at the Fresno Fairgrounds. For tickets, go to thenetwork2022.com. That's thenetwork2022.com.
It's the Afternoon Drive with Phillip and Skip on News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ.
It's definitely number one on my dial.
100 years of KMJ. Now more with Skip and Phillip.
2:37 on your Afternoon Drive, Friday edition. Phillip Teresi, Skip Echeverria, joining you on News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ. And joining us now, Fresno City Councilman Mike Carbasi is back. Councilman, good afternoon, sir. Thanks for making time for us.
It's great to be with you. Happy Friday.
Hey, we've been talking about this feasibility study on alternatives to PG&E for most of the week. Yesterday, you and your colleagues on the city council were planning to vote on whether or not to conduct the feasibility study, but decided not to vote. What was it? You voted not to vote on the feasibility study. Do I have that right?
Yeah, if there's one thing government loves, it's to do all these studies. They'll study things to death. And this was a study to do a study, because they kept dangling out the nuclear option that we're going to go on our own and we're going to do all that. The problem is San Diego just authorized a feasibility study to go on their own. Yeah. The cost of the study itself was $3 million. So this is like the pre-study for that study. Can you imagine how many police officers we can hire, how many potholes we can fix? That's not chump change in this town. That's real taxpayer money to explore an idea that would tell us we're going to have to spend hundreds of millions of dollars to build our own utility. But if you can give me a second, I actually listened to the whole debate. I didn't even chime in. It was a circus yesterday. I mean, it was 3 or 4 hours spent on this issue. And I'm just thinking, okay, here we go again. So, you okay if I explain it to you real quick?
Yeah, please.
Okay, there's two issues here. The one issue is the rates PG&E is charging us. And look, I'm a homeowner. I'm a business owner. I'm frustrated. Everything is more expensive, and I've had to economize myself like so many others out there. That's the big long-term issue. The short-term issue, and the reason why most of the people at that press conference were from the building community, good job creating people that we have in our community, is because of an issue called electrification that is connecting PG&E power to homes, new homes that have been built. They estimate there are 400 in Fresno, 400 families waiting to move into their homes, and they can't do it. Or new businesses built from the ground up that can't be connected. And that's a legitimate issue. But that's not what we were talking about yesterday. And yesterday's study, to do a study, doesn't get us any closer to solving that problem.
So I want to kind of, well, first I want to ask you just directly, where do you stand on this when the vote comes down?
So right now, we need more information to know what the study's actually going to cost. They gave us a figure of $150,000 that was kind of out of thin air. I know what the real cost is going to be down the line based on what's happened in other cities. And I think that we don't need to do a study. We can just, our staff can do it alone. I'm more concerned about solving the problem to get those families in their homes before Thanksgiving. I've met with PG&E today. I'm going to have a more comprehensive meeting with them next week. I'm focused on solving that short-term problem because we don't need press conferences. We need action, and that's what I'm trying to do. When it comes to electrification and breaking away from PG&E, I know it's really popular, but think about this. If this is a Sacramento problem that we feel locally, if the powerful politicians in Sacramento can't challenge PG&E, how are we expecting a president to do that by saying terrible things about them? That's not the way it works. This is business. We've got to get them to the table, and that's what I'm doing next week.
Councilman, if building our own electrification infrastructure isn't feasible, and I could hear arguments from either side, but if it's not feasible, if it's not something that we can do given the spending power in this community, are there alternatives that should be included in this feasibility study, like the city supplementing the availability of equipment? I mean, I heard one builder talk about they had to go buy their own transformer. Is it subsidizing solar so that we have more people producing more energy with renewables so that PG&E doesn't have an excuse to de-energize our town?
That's a very good point. And I don't think you actually need to spend taxpayer money on a study. We can look at best practices. We're not reinventing the wheel here. But the other issue is, in the end, even with a transformer, you've got to get PG&E to connect the line. And that's the issue we have. There's only a handful of third-party installers that can do that work, and PG&E can't neglect Fresno anymore, and they have to understand that. And that's what we're focusing on doing. That's the real problem. It's not while there is a long-term problem with the rates, the short-term problem is solving this issue so we can get people in their homes.
Okay, I want to pick that apart a little bit, because when we're short on nurses, for instance, we pay the hospitals will pay more and they'll get travel nurses in. When they were short with substitute teachers, they started paying more to get more people in. Is the problem here, because I have a real hard time feeling bad for PG&E. I do not want to pick on their workers, and I don't think that the derogatory language towards them is fine. But like, turn on the houses so you can bill us at your astronomical rates.
Right. And for us as a city, when you occupy your home, that property tax pays for our roads, pays for public safety. So, look, I do not feel sorry for PG&E, but what I want is to be utterly honest with the public and to be able to say we're going to challenge PG&E and we're going to threaten them by breaking away. That's not realistic. It's not going to happen. I think that the people that held the press conference are well-intentioned. They're very frustrated. I don't blame them. As a consumer, I'm pissed. But I'm also an elected official. And I can't be just so dishonest with people. From my perspective, it will never happen. I mean, high-speed rail will finich before we ever build our own our network.
He didn't.
No. Here's the thing. Yes, I'm a John F. Kennedy Democrat from North Fresno, but I can tell you, My voters in Northwest Fresno did not send me to City Hall to expand government. They sent me there to make government work better for taxpayers. I mean, I believe in dreaming big for Fresno, but some people believe in dreaming big government. I'm just not one of them.
Councilman, is this, I mean, you mentioned Sacramento several times in discussing this. Is this something that the city council would be better serving the voters of Fresno, the taxpayers of Fresno, to put back onto the shoulders of our assembly members, of our state senators?
That's a great question. Now, I think that we have to help them. If they're willing to stand up and challenge PG&E and challenge the CPUC, then on both sides of the aisle, we have to stand up when Joaquin Arambula goes up there or Jim Patterson goes up there and say, hey, we have your back. But that we don't have a coordinated effort, and that's the problem. And they have, no pun intended, they're the ones that have the juice to hold them to the fire. I mean, they pass so many ridiculous laws, it's like on a whim. Why can't they do one that helps us with PG&E?
Is this Sacramento penalizing Fresno for not being on board with the Democrat supermajority, or is this just Sacramento being Sacramento, period?
I think it's just the system. I just think it's the way things are. I mean, there's a lot of, this is the nature of the way Sacramento works, I think. It's just lobbying and money and attention. And look, I mean, you saw how he treated the gas tax issue instead of giving people a direct rebate at the pump. A lot of nonsense. So I hate to say it. It's the nature of things. We have to find a way as a community to work around them. And I like your idea. How can we, using our budget and our resources, try to find a way to provide relief to people without breaking the bank? But a $3 million, multi-million-dollar study. Let's not forget, our city is the 5th largest in the state, but by area, we're the 6th largest. That's a lot of territory to build new power lines and infrastructure, unless we want to eminent domain PG&E. But I can guarantee there'll be millions of dollars in court costs before they'll let us do that.
So
that's just the reality of the situation.
So in the meantime, this has been tabled. I mean, we've had another council member call up and say it was council member Arias that he wasn't on board with this. December 1st is when this is going to come back up. Do you anticipate a whole lot more of this kind of emotional testimony, or do you think like this is going to fall off? What do you think is going to happen?
It all depends on what happens between now and December 1st. I don't think there'll be as much emotion because, frankly, the dynamic was very different yesterday, and there were 4 votes against it, and I don't think they have the votes to save it. But I also think there's a lot of options. Number one, Councilmember Chavez has an interesting idea of going to another agency and getting money from them for the study. But I think we can do the study in-house and come and show options of what other communities have done. There's over 40 communities that have done something or other like this. Well, let's see what they've done. There's no reason to have to wait months and pay $150,000 to a consultant. What I learned yesterday is, wow, this could be like a high school project. We can do this in-house. This does not need to be some fancy study that government's left to do.
Councilman, do you feel confident that there is a solution that reduces cost of living for Fresno ratepayers, or is this really dependent upon Sacramento doing something for somebody who's not currently sitting in a funny-looking building in Sacramento?
So this is the long-term issue, and it's not easy as a local elected to answer that because it is a statewide issue that unfortunately we are facing in Fresno. And this is what they did. They packaged this issue with the issue at hand, which is people getting into their homes. So what I'm looking at between now and December 1st, when I meet with PG&E, is how far we're going to get in negotiations to solve this underlying problem. I think if we solve that problem, the whole thing's going to go away.
Councilman, we're out of time, but I appreciate you making time for us today.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for hearing me out. I appreciate it. This is my therapy. I get to vent on here. Thank you.
We'll send you a bill.
That is Fresno City Councilman Mike Carbasi on the afternoon drive on News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ. For now, the PG&E feasibility study, the Escape from PG&E feasibility study goes back on the shelf while a more comprehensive, a more detailed plan is worked out by the advocates of said study. Thank you to Councilman Carbasi for making the time for us. That's Skip Echeverria. I'm Philip Teresi, and you are listening to KMJ.
Out and about in Fresno right now, southbound 99, just north of Ashland. Got a non-injury accident being reported. East Manning of Cedar, a hit-and-run non-injury accident at that location. Our next update happens at 3:03. I'm Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Lowe's. Where can you get holiday ready and hosting the entire family ready? Lowe's, actually. Save on a Samsung kitchen suite. Was $5,146, now $3,016. Check back daily for deals during Black Friday month at Lowe's. Offer valid through 11/9. Exclusions apply. See store for details.
Madera County's mountain communities need principled and experienced leadership. That's why we need to elect Bobby McCauley as our Madera County Supervisor in District 5. Bobby is endorsed by Sheriff Tyson Pogue and District Attorney Sally Marino, and is a third-generation resident of our mountain communities. Bobby McCauley will prioritize public safety, forest management, our small businesses, and water for our farmers. Vote Bobby McCauley for Supervisor on November 8th.
Paid for by the Friends of Robert McCauley for Supervisor 2022.
Hi, I'm Jeremy.
And I'm Ben. Choosing the best mattress can be difficult, but one company has made it easy: Clovis Mattress. We've created a simple lineup of mattresses to suit all budgets and, more importantly, all sleeping styles.
But the best part is, all our mattresses are made right here in the Central Valley. We still use traditional techniques and the finest materials. But now, every mattress we sell directly benefits the local community.
But that's not the only difference. At Clovis Mattress, we are open by appointment only. Why? Because we want every customer to get the royal treatment, so we can guide you through our amazing collection with no hard sell, no distractions, just the right information to help you find your perfect mattress.
So call Clovis Mattress today, 559-500-2222, or visit clovismattress.com. Again, that's clovismattress.com to book your appointment and secure free delivery from now until January 2023.
Buy local, support local at Clovis Mattress.
Listen, could Robert change your life?
At the age of 55, I started putting on weight, and I got to the weight of about 210 pounds. Always hungry. The heavier I got, the less energy I had. And about 6 months ago, I started taking the Andro 400, and I started realizing I had more energy. I felt better, and my mind was clearer, and I started losing weight. I went from my max weight was 215, and now I'm down to 176. My waist size has dropped from a 38 to a 32, and I've lost these big love handles I had on my side, and I just look a lot slimmer.
Since 2004, Andro 400 has helped men lose belly fat, gain energy, and to look and feel their best. Go to andro400.com for more true testimonials, before and after photos, and special discounts. Only available on andro400.com. andro400.com.
Me, Ray Appleton, I am made out of 75% of something. No, I'm 75% water, just like you. Water is essential to everything, and most people don't realize that clean, healthy water is a must-have to live the absolutely best life you can. Life Source Water Systems, coming out of every tap in your home, just like mine. It removes all the bad stuff. It leaves in the good stuff, filtering out the chlorine and the other garbage that makes it taste like, well, you know. No maintenance. They install it, you forget about it, and you will taste and feel the difference immediately. For a very limited time, purchase a Life Source Water System without paying a penny for 6 months. No interest, no payments, nothing for 6 months, and that depends upon your credit, of course. Click LifeSourceWater.com. Call 559-330-1850. 559-330-1850. You will taste and feel the difference. Life Source Water, yeah. And remember what you're made of. Hey, it's a good thing, and don't you dare forget it.
With so many used car lots, big and small, how do you know the difference? Take a look at Central Valley Fleet. Hand-picked pre-owned vehicles priced right and backed by Scott and Katie Beal, who've always done you right. SUVs to muscle cars to lifted trucks and the best-selling passenger vehicles, Central Valley Fleet has yours. And unlike any other pre-owned vehicle center in the valley, even the national guys, Central Valley Fleet has an on-site service center to back up your vehicle. Central Valley Fleet on West Shaw, next to Harley-Davidson, across from Costco.
Hey, you got a tickle in your schnoz? Call Dr. Boz. Click BozAllergy.com. Boz, B-A-Z. BozAllergy.com.
KMJ Fresno.
It's the afternoon drive on KMJ. That's Philip. I'm Skip. Thank you again to Councilmember Carbasi for joining us to talk about the vote, about the study, to maybe do the thing that's now been postponed until December 1st.
The PG&E breakaway feasibility study for the city of Fresno that I think that the study needs to have a scope beyond simply, is it possible for the city of Fresno to build power generation and distribution facilities? Because the answer is yes. If you throw enough money at the situation, yes, we could build a nuclear power plant if somebody wants to come up with a couple of $1 billion. I think that there is room for one. I was really serious about, if the problem here is that PG&E is dragging their toes on getting stuff out there, let's make sure we've got third-party inspectors.
Right, bring in the travel nurses, right? Get it done.
Third-party inspectors, third-party installers, so that it literally comes down to PG&E. You're going to be here at this date and time to observe that the work has been done and officially flip the switch. The other thing is, this isn't me being greeny whack job. This is me thinking about the potential for heading off PG&E's excuses and demands for rate increases. We're a fantastic environment for solar. If you've ever got questions about how good of an environment we are for solar, sit down with Chris Moran from Solar Negotiators. I mean, tell him you don't want to buy anything and pick his brain. The man will tell you over and over all the ways it works well here in a way that it doesn't work everywhere. Creating subsidies, creating city facilities that are solar powered and become grid independent, you're going to create that pressure, and I think you're going to do it, one, at a profit to local businesses, which is always a good thing, and two, in a way that you can say to PG&E, if you guys aren't going to get the job done, we're going to find ways to make sure that things like our hospitals and our fire stations don't have to rely on you.
So I do not want to turn away from the ugliness that is a 22% increase in costs this year alone and an additional 18% expected for nothing that's changed in terms of the product we're getting from PG&E. So the wah from PG&E I'm not really feeling. However, the threatening to leave felt a little bit like when your kid gets mad and says, well, I'm moving out. And they don't have anything to be able to support themselves to move out.
You're 7. Enjoy your walk. Yeah.
So in the meantime, I know it feels good to get mad at them. Yeah. But yeah, I like the idea. Get the 400 houses up. You're on to something like they've done with the schools, putting all the solar over all the parking lots.
I can't say it clearly enough. Be mad at the C-suite, be mad at the board of directors, and for God's sakes, be mad at the CPUC in Sacramento. Don't blame the guys in hard hats.
No.
They are stuck in a tight spot, man. They got a tough job to do, and they are truly essential, and they've got no control over any of this. Possibly even less control than the Fresno City Council at this point.
Missed part of the show? Get the Afternoon Drive podcast at KMJNow.com or by searching KMJ's Afternoon Drive in TuneIn Radio or Google Podcasts.
It's that time of year again. Bari Olive Oil's annual Harvest Festival, tomorrow from 9 till 3 in Dinuba. They're turning 86 this year and want to celebrate with all of you. Amazing food, fun for the kids, car show for the dads, a little shopping for the ladies, and a blood drive. Join us at this free event tomorrow from 9 till 3 at their place in Dinuba. For more information, give us a call at 595-9260. That's 595-9260. Or go to barioliveoil.com.
Mayors past and present say why they support Measure E. Here's Jim Patterson.
I support Measure E because there is a need. It's a good return on investment, and it will do what it says it will do. It's critical to our community to help Fresno State expand its impacted nursing, engineering, criminology, and ag programs. It will also help veterans access to Fresno State and increase campus security. The cost of Measure E is minimal, and tough accountability is built right into the measure.
And here's Jerry Dyer.
Education is the key to improving our quality of life. Measure E is a small investment, just a penny on $5.
but it will help more of our young people become nurses, farmers, teachers, public safety personnel, and more. Measure E will provide our youth with more opportunities to be successful. What Measure Z did for the zoo, Measure E will do for Fresno State and our children. Please, join me.
Vote yes.
Yes on Measure E.
Ad paid for by Yes on Measure E. Good to great for Fresno State 2022. Committee major funding from Richard F. Spencer and affiliates.
Buildings Unlimited will be celebrating 20 years serving Central California and the West Side. Buildings Unlimited, specializing in concrete tilt warehousing, cold storage, processing facilities, and commercial pre-engineered metal buildings. Buildings Unlimited is your single point of contact from design to the completion, proudly featuring new core steel, manufactured in the USA. Buildings Unlimited, where the only limit is your imagination. Call our experienced team for a free consultation at 559-485-9948 or visit us at buildingsunlimited.net.
Dan owed an unbelievable amount of money to the IRS.
I got behind on my taxes. It's a horrible feeling.
He was in denial.
And when I got those letters from the IRS, you wanted to act like they didn't exist.
Finally, Dan turned to Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients.
Optima got me a settlement with the IRS. These people are really people-friendly. It was every bit of a new lease on life for me.
The fast action and the great results made Dan's head spin.
I felt like I was in a dream, but it's real, and I have paperwork to prove it. They got the job done, and life is good.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation.
If you're worried about what's going to happen with the IRS, stop worrying. Make the call now.
Call 800-932-4177. 800-932-4177. 800-932-4177.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Celebrating a century of broadcasting. News Talk 580 AM, 1059 FM. KMJ, Fresno, a Cumulus Media station.
It's 3 o'clock in Fresno. I'm Joe Miller in the KMJ News Center. Well, 2 teens arrested for making threats on social media. Hanford Police Department officials say they received calls yesterday about an online post with what appeared to be a rifle with a message that told students to not go to school. Authorities arresting a 13-year-old and a 14-year-old student. Officials say they will face legal and disciplinary action. The new Fresno City Controller is the Chief Financial Officer for the Fresno Unified School District. The City Council unanimously approved Santino Denisi to the position yesterday. The City Controller is in charge of the Finance Department and manages accounting, budgeting, and other financial tasks. Recent storms dumped several inches of snow in the Sierra, and that could be good for Valley skiers. KMJ's Liz Kern reports.
For the first time in nearly 2 decades, China Peak Ski Resort may open before Thanksgiving. Resort CEO Tim Cohey says weather conditions have been ideal for making powder at the 1,300-acre site. If the weather plays out as expected, his plan is to have China Peak open by November 12th. It would then stay open on the weekends through Thanksgiving until its regular season then begins. Liz Kern, KMJ News.
Fresno City Council members taking a step back from the possibility of having a city-owned electric provider. A vote to study possible alternative power sources was tabled yesterday. City leaders held a press conference earlier this week to speak out against PG&E's increased rates and project delays. There have been jackpots before, but nothing like this. ABC's Dave Packer on the heights of the Powerball jackpot and which it's reached.
It's time to play America's favorite jackpot game. This is Powerball.
And this time, players are vying for an astronomical $1.6 billion. Thanks to a ticket-buying frenzy, Americans have made Saturday night's Powerball jackpot the largest lottery prize in history. It's taken 39 consecutive drawings without a big winner to push the jackpot into the stratosphere. If one person wins, takes a lump sum, they'll walk away with an estimated $782.4 million. Dave Packer, ABC News.
Now the forecast from Fox 26's Justin Willis.
Temperatures staying pretty well below normal across the valley. 62 the afternoon high in Fresno. We're normally at 70. Cold with overnight lows in the upper 30s and low 40s. Winter storm watch beginning Sunday and going through Wednesday. 1 to 2 inches of rain expected across the valley during that time. And 1 to 4 feet of snow expected in the Sierra starting at 4,000 feet. From the Fox 26 Weather Center for KMJ, I'm Justin Willis.
With news on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks, and always streaming at KMJNow.com, I'm Joe Miller for News Talk 580, 1059 KMJ.
Thank you, Jim. Couple problems in Fresno right now. Southbound 99 north of Ashland, they're dealing with a non-injury accident. And on East Manning of Cedar, hit and run non-injury accident at that location. Everything else is looking pretty good and up to speeds. Next update, 3:17. I'm Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
Measure C was a mistake 20 years ago, and it's a mistake now. We paid the price, but our kids shouldn't. There's no future in Measure C. Vote no. Ad paid for by No on Measure C 2022.
KMJ's Afternoon Drive at 490-5858.
And toll free at 800-776-5858.
I'm not an educated person, but I think I could do a better job than they do. They're educated idiots.
We're sorry. It's the Valley's Afternoon Drive on KMJ. Now, Philip and Skip.
3:05 on the Friday installment of your Afternoon Drive at News Talk 580 and 1059 KMJ. At Skip Echeverria, I'm Philip Teresi. Couple of school stories as you pick up the kids and make your way home for the weekend. We start in Hanford. This was huge in the news yesterday. A 13-year-old and a 14-year-old have been arrested after Hanford police say these junior rocket scientists cobbled together a perceived social media threat, probably clearly a hoax, but it ended up putting a whole bunch of people on alert in Hanford, including everybody at Woodrow Wilson Junior High.
Yeah, police began receiving calls from parents at Woodrow Wilson Junior High School. There was a social media post that was out there that appeared to be a rifle with the message telling students not to go to school. As a result, immediately after that, the school district and police department increased security while the officers investigated the threat.
They did trace the message back to these two kids. They're 13 and 14. They're not going to be identified. But according to the kids, the post was intended to be a joke. The rifle was just an airsoft, so a plastic pellet gun. Neither of them have access to any real weapons. Both of these yahoos were arrested. They faced legal and disciplinary action from the school and the police department. And Hanford PD would like to remind the public that these kinds of actions are not a joke in any situation.
So I don't know how much. I mean, at this point, these kids have grown up doing the active shooter drill since they were in kindergarten. So the idea that it's a joke is wild to me. Is this the equivalent, the new equivalent of dumb kids doing things like jumping off the roof? And I want to compare it to that, not because of the impact it has to people around them, but just on the stupidity level. You know what I mean? Like, this is their equivalent of that.
Yeah. I
mean, I want to knock some sense into them, but
just foot to keister, man. Yes, I believe that we have a very disproportionate sort of scenario relative to any past generation. So when I was a kid, when I was in middle school, and I split my time between Cupertino Junior High School in, surprise everybody, Cupertino, California, and C. Todd Clark Middle School on 5th Street in Clovis. There is no creature of any level of sentience more inclined to idiotic impulsivity than a 14-year-old boy.
it comes with the testosterone development.
Yes, I am certain that is the root physiological cause. It is something that is born into us. And all of you guys out there, you know you've got one or two stories, 13, 14, 15 years old. You did something stupid or silly or shameful. We all did, every one of us. When I was 13 and 14 years old, the most attention that I could possibly get would have come from prank calling.
Oh yeah, we were great. We were so bad at it.
Pulling a fire alarm.
Okay,
That was another one. It's not one that I
Yeah,
did.
but that's a little more. That's the more dangerous. Get yourself in trouble than a prank call. Yeah.
Pulling a firearm was like another level up. Phoning in a bomb threat was an inconceivable transgression.
Okay.
So we all went off and did stupid stuff. I got a knock on my door one day. The home that I lived in when I was up in Los Altos going to Cupertino Junior High School, the property actually backed up to the Southern Pacific rail line. So if you went out my back door and all the way across the backyard and straight out the back fence, you went down like this 60-foot hill that was almost a cliff. It was like a 3% grade. It was ridiculous. And you were at the Southern Pacific Railroad lines that kind of ran along the 280, if you're familiar with the area at all. Well, I started out putting like pennies and dimes and quarters on the railroad tracks. The train would come along, smash them. It was just kind of a cool thing. Then we started putting other stuff out there until eventually I left maybe a shopping cart loaded with tin cans and other garbage on the train tracks one day. And at that point, the engineers had figured out that this idiot kid in this neighborhood was doing this, and they came around to the house and keep your kid off the train tracks, man. It was pretty stupid, pretty scary. I thought I was in trouble, man. And had I caused a problem, I absolutely would have been. But instead, it was stupid kid doing stupid things. Stay off the train tracks or you're going to get smashed.
Well,
by
and
the
then there
train.
was an intervention of an adult seeing that, right? And then you probably getting a talking to.
Oh yeah. No. Full blown sit down with mom, the whole bit. It was a big one for me. And it was stupid. And I wasn't trying to harm anybody. I just wanted to see what the train would do to the shopping cart full of tin cans and other garbage. And by the way, exactly what it'll do to, I don't know, a car parked on the train tracks. It just explodes everywhere. Now these kids have access to social media. So an idiot 14-year-old whose brain is so full of testosterone and hormones and stupidity and girl craziness and do I still love Transformers and cars or do I want to try and find a Playboy, now has the ability to communicate with everybody in the world. And so they get online and they do this stupid thing that 20 years ago would have been them mooning a car full of nuns out the back of the bus and is now a felony.
So I was trying to think about how to make this kind of a comparison. You know, you use the train track thing, but I think we also all understand that trains are dangerous. So 13 or 14-year-olds are probably big enough to drive, right? I mean, I learned how to drive
physically, yeah.
Yeah, I learned how to drive younger than that, and the only time we could drive the vehicle was if we were cleaning stalls.
Yeah.
Okay, and so strangely enough, all the kids wanted to clean stalls because then you got to drive the pickup. Okay, now, as a parent, you're allowed to let your kid kind of drive around, whatnot, not on roads.
On your private
property.
property.
But on your private property. However, you are rolling the dice on that if something happens, right? Like if they crash the vehicle or whatnot. So most of the time, parents are really thinking about like the cost-benefit analysis of giving these kids a car because of safety. And then when they get the car, they have to go through. If they're going to get a license, rather, you got to do the permit, the driving, the probationary period, all of that. So you take it very seriously. But then with smartphones and internet access, we just hand them over and assume that everything's going to be fine because how much damage they can do. And then layer on top of that some of these toy firearms that, while I understand they're obviously fake ones, a glance, proper positioning, these kids knew damn well that it was going to look scary.
Yeah.
And then woo, 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 it's just a joke.
Yeah.
So and we can't not have kids have smartphones. You can't put an edict out, right? And the social media companies can say, "Oh, right, well, you got to be at least 14," but who's checking that stuff? It's the equivalent of joyriding, but with very serious consequences.
Yeah. I see where you're coming from there, and
do you make parents responsible? Is that the step?
Yeah, actually, yeah. I mean, this is going to probably strike you as a, I don't know. You might think I'm being facetious. Maybe you think I'm nuts and I'm pulling too far to the right. Parents should pay attention to what their kids are doing and educate them about how to function in society.
But
if you aren't ready to make that commitment, don't make a baby.
Which is why birth control should be available.
Yes, everywhere, all the time.
Agreed. However,
forgive me.
I do think that and look, if that makes you righty right, then apparently I'm righty right too. I also recognize that parents are busy doing things and trying to take care of responsibilities. I get all that. But and I'm guilty of this because my kids are on their phones a lot. You've got to interject and check that stuff. And maybe in this case, the same way, if a kid takes off in your car and joyrides, you can get in trouble for it, either by your insurance not covering with the policy or you getting in trouble for it for, I don't know.
With the law,
with the law. Maybe there should be consequences for parents because parents being asked to talk to their children about online threats and their consequences is all fine and good and does nothing because the parents that already talk to their kids, like me, will go and talk to the kids again.
Every time a story like this occurs, because right now what we have is on the scale of idiot teenager creates unintended consequences due to unchecked access to social media. What we have here is truly a best case scenario. Stupid did stupid thing. Stupid thing got lots of attention. Stupid things, attention generated consequences. Nobody got hurt. Nobody got killed. Nobody's insane. Nobody's going to prison. A dumb thing happened because a young person was allowed unfettered access. Every parent, every grandparent, every godparent, every guardian, aunt, uncle, or older sibling. Go to our news partner, kmph.com. Print this story and tack it to your favorite child's bedroom door. Yes, 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds. They're not too young. But especially if you've got those tweens, if you've got 11 or 12, if they've just crossed that line, they're still very sweet. They're 13. They still basically look childlike at this point. They're starting to get the little creepy hormonal stuff coming on, but they're still basically a kid. Or if they're 14, 15 and have one of those disgusting mustaches that 15-year-old boys grow. Print this out, tack it to the door. And every time this happens, because it's going to keep happening, because unfortunately, negligent, stupid people also make babies. Print the story, tack it to the kid's door, and at dinner that night, breakfast the next morning, or while you're out walking the dogs. Did you read the story? What'd you learn?
As a parent, if they're old enough to have a phone at 4, 5, and 6, then they are old enough to know about that. But it's so many, they're just looking on the phone. They're just playing on the phone. It keeps them quiet. This is the single worst thing that we're doing for children.
Social media is bad for society,
or just the
in
internet.
my opinion. But unfettered access to the internet, can you imagine?
I just go back to when we were kids, you were allowed to run around and do whatever, and now it's keep them safe in their home, and now they have access to the whole entire world.
Yeah.
Little bit of mentoring and monitoring.
Print the story, tack it to the door, talk about it at dinner. That's the way that we eventually get to a point where people understand that you can't do stuff like that.
And check their phones. Because you pay for it, you get to check whatever you want.
We're never going to eliminate this completely, but it's a very short road to making sure it ain't your kid.
Out and about this afternoon on this Friday, southbound 99 north of Ashland. They just about got that area cleaned up from a non-injury accident. East Manning at Cedar, a box truck hit the railroad crossing and then took off. In Porterville on Rich Grove at Avenue 32, there's an injury accident being reported at that scene. Our next update is at 3:33. I'm Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle, and my company is Blindster.com. I started Blindster in 2010 to provide custom blinds, shades, and shutters at affordable prices. Our blinds are easy to install and shipping is free. Don't hire an expensive professional. Do it yourself and save big at Blindster.com.
Oh, don't you know? Your O-negative blood can save the lives of trauma victims and your family or friends. Turn a negative into a positive. Find out if you're O-negative by donating now at the Central California Blood Center. Go to donateblood.org.
Rudy Salas received $80,000 in free trips and gifts. One trip was tied to the Chinese Communist Party, financed by a group trying to influence politicians like Salas. Who's Salas working for? David Valadeo is pro-America. Valadeo pushed to stop China from buying American oil reserves. David Valadeo, fighting to cut gas prices. Paid for by Congressional Leadership Fund and not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.congressionalleadershipfund.org. Congressional Leadership Fund is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Oh, now you know. The Central California Blood Center needs not just O-negative blood, but all blood, even if you don't know your type. Every single donation has the potential of saving multiple lives, including family and friends. Go to donateblood.org now.
Ag crime is a lot more than just copper wire theft, with your farm and ag business on the line. Chris Daniel here. If your farm or ag business has been victimized and you want them caught and you want your stuff back, call Rocky Pipkin at the Pipkin Detective Agency. If you'd like to get ahead of the crime and get some real prevention, call the Pipkin Detective Agency. The largest in the valley, the brand standard for ag crime prevention. Fruit theft, equipment theft, massive. Fertilizer fraud. Now that's a load of BS. How about that $300,000 pistachio heist? And yes, even honey embezzlers. How'd you like to tell that to your new cellmate? I'm a honey embezzler. Good luck. The PDA Ag Security Team offers detailed consultation, risk assessment, 24/7 patrol service, property surveillance, emergency response, and the experience and skill to trace and solve crimes that have already happened. You live on enough margins already, right? Don't let ag crime get you. Call the Pipkin Detective Agency. Find them at gopipkin.com. That's gopipkin.com.
Ad paid for by Money.com. Are you worried about inflation and the rising cost of living? Well, you're not the only one. That's why many recommend investing via a traditional gold IRA. This way, your investment is held in a tax-deferred account, so your contributions and gains will not be taxed. Gold is often thought of as a safe, long-term investment. With demand for gold on the rise, now could be an ideal time to invest. And when you consider current inflation rates, a gold IRA may be a sound move if you're looking for a hedge against risk. Interested in learning more about gold IRAs? Call today to get a free investing kit, and a rep can walk you through the process. 30 million people have already invested in gold. If you're not protected against inflation and market volatility, well, you probably should be. Call 800-869-2045. That's 800-869-2045. Start investing in gold today. Call 800-869-2045. Again, 800-869-2045.
Hi, everyone, and welcome. If you've been injured in an accident that was not your fault, listen up. We have legal professionals standing by to answer your questions for free. They'll tell you if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth. Call 800-843-4202 now. I'm here with spokesman for the firm, John Wolf. So, John, tell everyone listening who should call in.
Well, Maria, first off, thank you for having me here with you. We always enjoy answering the listeners' questions. Now, as far as who should call in, anyone who's been injured in an accident that was not your fault, give us a call right now. We have legal professionals standing by to answer your questions and tell you how much your case is potentially worth. Call 800-843-4202.
Thanks, John. You heard it, folks. Take advantage of this opportunity and call now to speak with a live agent for free. Call 800-843-4202.
Advertisement sponsored by Legal Help Center. May not be available in all states.
Time's running short, so get your tickets now to The Network, the Valley's first agriculture mixer and fundraiser for everyone in the ag
ag industry to come together and unify as one. The biggest companies and ag leaders will be on hand for an afternoon and evening of networking, great food, and entertainment. Join us November 12th at the Fresno Convention Center for an unforgettable event. Proceeds benefit the family-owned and operated foundation and for renovations of the ag building at the Fresno Fairgrounds. For tickets, go to thenetwork2022.com. That's thenetwork2022.com.
When I got here, there was no homeless strategy, no plan, no resources of any merit. Today, there's $15.3 billion. There's a real strategy, real plan, and there's accountability for the first time.
Midterm election coverage and analysis on KMJ. Now, more with Philip and Skip.
Make sure you tune in on Tuesday night for special election coverage coming up. And if you have your ballots, you got to either drop them off or get them in the mail stat.
Yeah, Tuesday night, I believe we're on the air starting at 8 p.m. It is Ray Appleton, John Brodsky, Mike DeManuel Jr., I think it's Annalisa Perea, or not Annalisa. Is it Annalisa Perea? No, it's Nicole Parra.
Formerly
forgive me.
Person.
Nicole Parra is going to come in. I will be here. It's going to be an all hands on deck election night special on KMJ, live and local for your listening pleasure. And I'm going to see if I can get the guys to let me stream it on the video feeds. I just don't know if anybody's going to be in the mood to eat pizza on camera.
All right, let's do some good news, particularly for one Fresno teacher. Now, Staples, the office supply store, for 4 years now has been doing their Thank a Teacher contest. And it gives students and parents a chance to recognize an outstanding teacher who has made a positive impact on the lives of students.
This year, Jessica Cisneros of Yosemite Middle School from the Fresno Unified School District was selected. She won a $5,000 gift card from Staples.
That's so awesome. 20 teachers received a gift card prize for them and for their school to stock up on supplies needed for classrooms. One of the comments coming in, Jessica's, Mrs. Cisneros, took the necessary exams to teach history in both English and Spanish to provide any student, regardless of language barriers, equal access to education. She's always willing to take summer classes or attend professional development to improve her lessons for her students. She does not hesitate to use her own money for her students in and out of the classroom without any prior knowledge. She also became the tennis and soccer coach and has led teams to victory. She is, without a doubt, an amazing teacher. Oh, this is the teaching spirit all in one person.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, like people get into teaching because of this, not because they're going to make a ton of money. She's awesome.
She absolutely is.
Oh, and middle school's the worst. She's a saint. It's true, right? We just got done talking about it. I got one. I can say it.
Yeah, one of my dad's close friends was a middle school teacher in Foster City for 25 years.
Oh, saints, all of them.
This guy, there were two sides to this man.
Okay.
If you want to know how long-term middle school teaching affects the human psyche and behavior and all of that, there were two sides to this man. I heard this story actually at his memorial service last year. He had been teaching at the school for, I think at the time that this occurred, about 5 years. And Sam was a big guy. He was a tall man. He was a very broad-shouldered person. And he was a heavy guy. So he was a presence in the room amongst all of these, 13 and 14-year-olds. And this young lady that he had taught with and that had been one of his mentees in the student teaching program had gone off into the world and done what she had done and had returned home to Foster City to be the new vice principal at this school. And her specific role as vice principal was that she would be, amongst other things, dealing with discipline. And she comes into the classroom to do a little getting to know you speech with the students and just kind of lay down who I am and what I'm about. And I expect you guys to be on your best behavior and, hope I never see you in my office kind of thing. And she finishes this speech and she admits she's just a bundle of nerves because it's the first class she's talking to. And she finishes her speech and she thanks Sam and she walks out of the room, except she didn't. She walked into the supply closet. Sam, without missing a beat, calls out, no, Miss Jones, we're not doing inventory until tomorrow. I'm not ready for you. And covers her butt. So she's able to turn around and walk out.
Yeah, so she's
with her
not
dignity.
embarrassed in front of all these kids.
So that's one version of Sam that I knew. The other version of Sam that I knew was a guy who would sit on his couch in a tracksuit that would have made Paulie Walnuts roll his eyes, drinking Greyhounds and eating pizza and watching Are You Being Served on PBS while entertaining whomever happened to show up. He didn't care. He was done. He was off work, and he would sit there with his little pug dog licking pizza off of his belly of his tracksuit, done for the week.
Which is exactly why he got along with junior high kids. Because all junior high kids are a little bit gross and don't really care. I love it.
At school, he was an absolute and consummate professional. He was one of the best entertainers and just hospitality-minded people I knew. But when he was home and he was done, he was so done, it was a cartoon. And he did it for 30 years.
And there are so many more teachers that are out doing amazing things like that than the one-off here or there that you hear are miserable humans. So this is cool. It makes me kind of sad that we're in a situation where Staples has to do a contest where people are begging for money for classrooms. That's another story. But a really cool thing for Miss Cisneros over there at Yosemite Middle School. Talk about this woman's busy. She's so busy.
She's doing it all, and that's why she won. Congratulations.
KMJ News now.
It's 3:30 in Fresno. I'm Joe Miller in the KMJ News Center. City and Fresno County is hosting a massive celebration for local veterans tomorrow. Thousands of people will flock to downtown Sanger for the city's 12th annual Veterans Parade. It'll kick off at 11 a.m. It follows an opening ceremony held at the intersection of 7th and N Streets. Fresno teacher being awarded for having a positive impact on students. Jessica Cisneros of Yosemite Middle School recently won a $5,000 gift card from Staples through their 4th annual Thank a Teacher contest. The company gave out 20 total gift cards to help teachers stock up on school supplies. A new CEO of Twitter speaks out on the day thousands of workers get laid off. ABC's Derek Dennis reports.
Elon Musk speaking in New York City, but not addressing the elephant in the room. Roughly half of the company's 7,500 workers being laid off. Instead, he talked to advertisers, being urged, he says, by activist groups to walk away.
To, suppress free speech, then that doesn't seem right.
Musk says the company has done everything to appease advertisers, but admits several major companies have already pulled out. He also confirmed his plan to start charging users for their blue verification check marks.
It's only $8 a month, although for some people that complaining about that.
With many saying they won't pay. Derek Dennis, ABC News, New York.
Now the forecast from Fox 26's Justin Willis.
Temperatures staying pretty well below normal across the valley. 62 the afternoon high in Fresno. We're normally at 70. Cold with overnight lows in the upper 30s and low 40s. Winter storm watch beginning Sunday and going through Wednesday. 1 to 2 inches of rain expected across the valley during that time. And 1 to 4 feet of snow expected in the Sierra starting at 4,000 feet. From the Fox 26 Weather Center for KMJ, I'm Justin Willis.
With news on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks, and always streaming at KMJNow.com, I'm Joe Miller for News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ.
Thanks, Jim. Southbound 99 at Jensen got a hit-and-run non-injury accident. Fowler on Southbound 99 at Adams. A collision just being reported. Don't know about injuries yet. In Porterville, Rich Grove Drive at Avenue 32, they're cleaning up from an injury accident and some road blockages being reported. Then in Delano, southbound 99 at County Line Road, Caltrans is blocking the roadway, and unfortunately, traffic is backing up. Next update, 347. I'm Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Staples Stores. Staples is a one-stop destination for shipping supplies like boxes, mailers, and packing filler to services like UPS shipping. And right now, get 25% off UPS Express shipping services at Staples. Offer valid in U.S. Staples stores through 12/31. Staples, the best-kept secret in shipping.
The IRS doesn't mess around. If they want your money, they'll take it. They can take your paycheck and bank accounts, too. Even throw threaten your home or business. And it's about to get worse. The IRS just hired an army of new tax enforcers. So, if you owe back taxes, the smartest thing you can do is call Optima Tax Relief. Optima has access to a special IRS tax assistance program called the Fresh Start Initiative. And their clients that qualify are saving thousands, even tens of thousands. One call starts the process to stop the demand letters, stop aggressive collection actions, and stop that army of new enforcers from targeting you. But don't delay. It's important to act now while you still have options. They have an A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau. Optima has already resolved over $500 million of tax debt for their clients. Get your life back. Call now for your free consultation.
Call 800-932-4177. That's 800-932-4177. 800-932-4177.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
There's a reason Comcast Business powers more businesses than any other provider. Actually, there's a few. Comcast Business offers the fastest, reliable network, the peace of mind that comes with Security Edge, helping to protect all your connected devices, and the most reliable 5G mobile network. Want me to keep going? I can. Whether your small business is starting or growing, you need Comcast Business. Technology solutions that put you ahead and give you serious savings. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Get started with fast speeds and advanced security for just $49.99 a month for 12 months with no annual contract. Plus, ask how to get up to a $750 prepaid card with a qualifying bundle. Offer ends 12/5/2022. Restrictions apply. New Comcast Business 50 megabits per second internet and Security Edge customers only. EcoBill and autopay required. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra and subject to change. Most reliable based on RootMetrics US report. Results vary, not an endorsement.
This report is sponsored by Goal Zero. Goal Zero, the leader in affordable home backup systems and solar generators. During a blackout, they can power your fridge, freezer, lights, Wi-Fi, TV, and more with clean power. Learn more at goalzero.com.
If you are eligible, open enrollment is now available and only takes a few moments to sign up. Sante Physicians is here for all of your Medicare needs. Sante Physicians, the best doctors, the best choice.
It's the afternoon drive with Philip and Skip on News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ.
I feel more informed when I listen.
100 years of KMJ. Now more with Skip and Philip.
It's 3:35 on a Friday afternoon. Thank God. Oh, good. It's over for another week. 3:35 on News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ. That's Skip Echeverria. I'm Philip Teresi. We are glad to have you along. And earlier we were talking about this threat in Hanford that put the schools on high alert. And fortunately, it turned out to be a 13-year-old and a 14-year-old wanting for parental supervision and posting an airsoft gun and a hoax on social media. They are going to face both school discipline and legal discipline. And it is under the circumstances, the absolute best possible outcome from a story that starts that way. Unfortunately, we've also got synagogues, Jewish community centers, homes of rabbis on high alert right now, and increased patrols, not just in New Jersey, but even Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department has chimed in on this thing. A threat that had popped up and initiated an FBI announcement of a broad threat on Thursday led to a young man who posted that threat. He told the FBI he's angry and he hates Jewish people, but he didn't have any plans to do any actual physical harm. Law enforcement naturally telling synagogues to stay alert and take all safety precautions.
The post was written as if an attack had already occurred and in a style used by mass shooters, which raised the level of concern and triggered the FBI's tweet out of an abundance of caution, said sources about this. Is this just really bad timing for the new owner of Twitter, or is this a sign of what we were talking about, the hate speech running rampant post-switch?
I feel like there's an entire other conversation that we could dive into about that. But to be brief, if you're the kind of person who is going to post threats or slash fiction about shooting up a synagogue, it doesn't matter who owns Twitter. You were going to say something like that eventually, one way or another. Maybe not on Twitter.
I do think so, but I guess that like Twitter being that mouthpiece, social media being that mouthpiece to be able to, you can be the guy on the corner that's making threats, but this one can go all the way from LA to New Jersey.
I think that a person like this will make this threat by whatever means are at their disposal. The timing of Elon Musk taking over Twitter is conspicuous but not conclusive.
Okay. Now, the folks involved with this investigation have not released the name of the man.
No.
The FBI office in Newark didn't do it. You didn't hear about it anywhere. What do you think about that? Is this so that we don't give light to idiots doing these things online?
One of the trends that seems to have come out of troll culture as a internet click. Somebody says or does something stupid or horrible. The consequences begin to arrive. And then the rest of the people who are there to troll start piling money on. Perfect example, and I don't remember the location of the pizza parlor anymore. It was a pizza joint that made it into national news for a declaration that they would not cater gay weddings. Couple of things to keep in mind. There are no gay couples hiring pizza parlors to cater their wedding. That was a little humor. It's also true. The person who said it was a part-time employee with no stake in management or ownership. They just answered the phone at the pizza parlor and said what they said. The family that actually owns the place was in the press the next day and on their Facebook page and Yelp page the next day saying, we will cook pizzas for anybody who wants to buy one. Mm-hmm. We don't care. You want to cater a wedding, we'll cater a wedding. You want to do a bar mitzvah, we'll do a bar mitzvah. You want to have pizza at a funeral, we'll make pizza pies for your funeral. But somebody who was not aware that the actual owners of the pizza parlor had come out and said, no. It's some idiot who doesn't work.
Somebody ran away with it, yeah.
They started a fundraising site and had put together something to the order of $600,000 in the course of 48 hours from people who were going to help this pizza parlor fight the tyranny of the woke because they don't want to make pizzas for gay weddings. You put this guy's name out there and immediately there's going to be a bunch of schmucks that encourage this guy to double down on the bad behavior, whether they're throwing money at him or just simply promoting him to the top of the steaming pile that is Twitter.
Because we have seen some of those people where the ones that are trash find their folks and then get elevated to this place of all of a sudden there's millions of followers and access to bigger platforms and audiences.
What's interesting about that phenomenon, and it is a real phenomenon, is it really speaks to the gutlessness and the unacknowledged self-awareness of the kinds of people that go on the internet with the intention of upsetting and offending other people for their own amusement. I can say lots of offensive stuff. I have a bunch of things that poor Skip can attest to this because she has to listen to me on the commercial breaks. I've got a bunch of stuff rattling around in my head that I think is funny or I know will get a laugh or at least a shocked guffaw. And I don't say it because I have to be accountable. Philip Teresi is my name. I live in Fresno. I'm married. I have children. These people are saddled with my name as well. And so there's accountability. There's a world that I have to exist in. So I don't say all of the really delightful, terrible things that make me laugh because they'll get me into trouble and probably fired and possibly divorced. Somebody on the internet says something awful. It gets national attention because it sparked a reaction. And all the people who are just a little too gutless because they know they've got something to lose and they know what they're doing is wrong and they know that behaving this way is unacceptable. Well, I can't go out there and say something like that, but I can throw $5 to this guy because waka waka, that was funny.
So the FBI deciding to keep this guy unidentified. One, I think I just don't think we don't need that information.
Yeah.
And two, makes it a little bit less sexy for somebody to go out and do this. I do think though there is some connection between a lot of the anti-Semitic stuff we've seen building up to this, down to the Kanye thing and the banners, the Kanye was right stuff, and all of that was popping up. So it doesn't surprise me that some idiot gets online and perpetuates that.
Well, because fads roll in cycles. And right now, anti-Semitism is a fad with terrible people on the internet. And they'll move from anti-Semitism to once again advocating for free and universal use of the N-word or whatever it is that they're going to get to next. But it's a cycle. The fact that most of these people will never show their faces, give their names, in any way assign their identity to this stuff is proof that they don't believe in it. They're just jerks.
Well, and I think too, the Jewish community, while there have been kind of these waves of active, vocal anti-Semitism, the Jewish community, like other marginalized communities, are used to just an undercurrent, from my understanding, an undercurrent of hate, right? Because even though it disappeared, air quotes, with the Nazis, it's still been there.
Anti-Semitism, like racism and homophobia, it's unfortunately, it is just a part of how society is.
Are we
it's a piece of society, and it's ugly and it's sad, but it's there.
So one of the things that always comes up when there's violence against schools is how do you make sure that the kids stay safe at schools, right? And there's these conversations about arming people, this, that, and the other. Is that the place we're going to get to with places of worship? Because right now it's the story of the New Jersey synagogues, but we've seen the threats towards the mosques, right? And we've seen
they do it to the mosques.
Yeah, Christian churches targeted, all of that.
They do it to the Mormons. They do it to the Christian Scientists. Anybody who's different than anybody else is eventually going to catch a little bit of this. In my humble opinion, the Jews have caught a disproportionate amount of this sort of stuff throughout all of recorded history. Mm-hmm. I don't know why. I don't understand it, but it is a real thing. I don't think that the synagogue should have to bristle with cameras and armed security. I think that the people who say stuff inspiring hate and violence against Jews or Muslims or Mormons should be exposed and held accountable through normal social mechanisms.
Isn't that a novel thought? Because speech and words can be insightful and or not incite violence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's one of the big catches here. This person should be exposed as the anti-Semitic monster that they are. But if you expose them, all of the cowardly little trolls that snuffle around on the internet looking for the next opportunity to stick their finger in somebody's eye are going to rally around him like he's somebody special.
Coming up, I really, really want to talk about great white sharks.
We'll do that when we get back on the afternoon drive on KMJ.
Southbound 99 at Jensen and Fresno, a big rig swiped a vehicle. It's a non-injury accident, and there are a lot of emergency personnel on the scene, so possible road blockage. Porterville, Rich Grove Drive at Avenue 32. Vehicle spun out of control and lost control of the vehicle, causing an injury accident. The lane of southbound 99 at County Line Road, Caltrans blocking the roadway, and traffic is backed up. Next update, 4:03. I'm Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Staples Stores. Staples is your one-stop destination for shipping supplies and services. And right now, get 50% off shipping boxes, mailers, or tubes when you buy 5 of the same item. Offer ends 12/31. Exclusions apply. Visit staplesconnect.com/shipping for details. Staples, the best-kept secret in shipping.
Did you know fixing outdoor leaks can save 27 to 90 gallons of water per day? Even tiny leaks can be huge water wasters. Conserving water starts with a few simple water-saving actions at home and in your yard, like adjusting your sprinklers and adding drip irrigation so you water only where it's needed. We can all do our part to conserve water. Visit SaveOurWater.com for more water-saving tips. Save water, save California.
Ad paid for by the Sentinel Group.
Attention, this is an important message for anyone that has been diagnosed with cancer after using such products as Johnson & Johnson baby powder and shower to shower. Recent media studies have shown that use of talcum powder can cause ovarian cancer. If you or a loved one has been diagnosed with ovarian cancer after using these products, then you may be entitled to significant compensation. In July 2018, a jury awarded $4.7 billion to 22 women whose ovarian cancer was linked to Johnson & Johnson's talcum-based products. Don't wait another day to see if you're eligible. Call us at 800-801-3357. That's 800-801-3357. Our network of attorneys are ready to fight for you, and you'll pay nothing unless there is a recovery in your favor. Time restrictions may apply. So call now. 800-801-3357. That's 800-801-3357. Again, 800-801-3357.
In 1893, the citizens of Madera voted to break away from Fresno County. Now, the Fresno politicians want to Fresno our Madera. There is one person that can stop the Fresno politicians. That person, Andy Wheeler. Andy Wheeler's lived in District 1 for over 24 years, where he raised his family. And he's a financial advisor, so when it comes to budgets, there's no one better to watch over our tax dollars. He's a school board member and used real science to get our kids back in school. Andy's experience has earned him the endorsements of every Madera County public safety organization, including our own Madera County Sheriff, Tyson Pogue. Sheriff Pogue says, "I'm supporting Andy Wheeler for supervisor in District 1. His professionalism and dedication to the community is second to none." Join Sheriff Pogue, the Madera Deputy Sheriff's Association, the Madera Police Officers Association, and the Madera County Firefighters Local 2881, and vote for Andy Wheeler for supervisor.
Paid for by Andy Wheeler for Madera County Supervisor, District 1, 2022.
Attention! If you've been classified as a high-risk driver due to DUI, DWI, or tickets for aggressive driving, and are required to get expensive and hard-to-find SR22 auto insurance, then you must listen to this message because Serenity can help. We're the largest insurance company in the U.S., specializing in SR22 auto insurance and focused on serving the needs of customers classified by the state as high-risk drivers. We help people get back on their feet by providing easy-to-get, low-cost SR22 insurance that anyone can afford. If you need SR22 auto insurance, or if you have it now and are paying too much, you need to call us today for your free quote at 800-279-7816. Our specialists are standing by waiting for your call. We understand people make mistakes, and we're here to help by making SR22 insurance easy to get and affordable for everyone. The call and quote are free. Call us now at 800-279-7816. That's 800-279-7816. Again, 800-279-7816.
This is a tough time for Fresno County. Families, children, students, everyone is suffering. We can't afford gas, we can't afford food, and we can't afford more taxes. That's why we need to vote no on Measure C. Measure C is a bad deal, crafted behind closed doors by politicians, and it'll only get worse. A $7 billion tax we'll pay for the next 30 years. Vote no on Measure C. We can't afford it. Ad paid for by No One Measure C 2022.
Real, honest conversation. News Talk 580, 1059, KMJ.
How does that song go again? Dun-dun, 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 dun-dun. You know, kids these days, if they watch Jaws, they'll just laugh at it. Because it's not scary to kids these days. However, if you were out in the San Francisco Bay with your cell phone near the Golden Gate Bridge, nope. Mm-mm. People swim across that bay, by the way.
Not very much.
Well, I mean, there's always this big swim event that happens from Alcatraz.
Yeah, well, they do the swim from the rock, yeah.
Yeah. This is why I never will.
Yeah, a guy on a 20-foot boat found a shark that was as big as his boat.
No.
And it was confirmed it was a great white shark in the San Francisco Bay.
No. David Lucchito told reporters that the close encounter is one he'll never forget. The shark was almost 20 feet in length. It was the same size as my boat. I'm on a 19-foot vessel, and it was sizing the boat up.
Uh-huh.
A local biologist looked at the video and confirmed it was a great white shark. It's more common than people believe, said David McGuire, founder of Shark Stewards. We know from tagging data and also anecdotal reports that white sharks do come into the bay and quite will often go to the backside as deep as maybe the Richmond Bridge.
Uh-huh.
They come in following prey, but it's not their ideal habitat.
Yeah.
No. Dude, I'm afraid to even hit the, I'm going to do it, but I'm not happy about it. Oh, no. That is really close to his boat. Yeah, I would have freaked out. Was he on like a dinghy?
Kind of, yeah. It wasn't a big vessel. It was.
I'm terrible at size. So 19 feet, that's a big, that's not a kayak. So it's going to be a little bigger than that. Oh, no.
Yeah, like a catamaran or a small sailboat. I mean.
You know what I would have done? I would have just laid down.
What if it capsizes the boat?
Oh, I saw a video that if you encounter a shark, this was like with a tiger shark.
Yeah.
You know, some people say like punch him in the nose, flail about, whatever, but that actually mimics prey. So what you're supposed to do with a shark is calmly swim beside them or above them and like push them down or something.
Uh-huh.
No.
Not for you, huh?
No.
I don't ever want to be in open water with a great white shark. Like I understand that tiger sharks and blue shark stuff like that can be dangerous, but that's not the stuff of nightmares. The great white's the scary one. I would love to go down in a shark cage and like see one.
You and my kid's teacher, their grade school teacher, was talking about that's what they wanted to do: go down with great white in a great white cage.
That's two things on my bucket list: see a great white in person and actually see a whale while whale watching.
I've seen whales. I have no desire to be anywhere near a live shark.
Even in a cage?
No. What? No, because then
But they'll come right up and then you can give them nose boobs.
Oh, boop. Then I'd have to be dependent on oxygen that's underwater.
Yeah.
That too? No. Guess we're not going to do any team building in a shark tank.
So no scuba diving for you, huh?
No. What if they left me out there? I saw parts of that movie.
Okay. I'm not advocating that you jump in the water.
By the way, I love Karen who posted on this Instagram. Maybe he's come to clean up the city of homelessness. Every chance you can. Just put it in there.
Missed part of the show? Get the Afternoon Drive podcast at KMJNow.com or by searching KMJ's Afternoon Drive in Amazon Music or Stitcher.
Helen here from Solar Negotiators. Did you know that the Central Valley has some of the highest electricity rates in the country?
Did you know that I have the highest temperature of any moving body in the solar system?
That's great, son. I'm trying to talk to these people about saving money on their energy bills.
Oh, well, why don't you just tell them to go solar?
That's what I was trying.
I mean, there's literally never been a better time. Power bills are going up, temperatures are rising every year. To think of all my energy wasted.
He's got a point. Don't waste your money. Call Solar Negotiators today, your lifetime energy partner.
Madera County's mountain communities need principled and experienced leadership. That's why we need to elect Bobby McCauley as our Madera County Supervisor in District 5. Bobby is endorsed by Sheriff Tyson Pogue and District Attorney Sally Marino, and is a third-generation resident of our mountain communities. Bobby McCauley will prioritize public safety, forest management, our small businesses, and water for our farmers. Vote Bobby McCauley for Supervisor on November 8th.
Paid for by the Friends of Robert McCauley for Supervisor 2022.
Hi folks, Roger Evans here with a few thoughts about Jack Hanna. More than our spokesman, Jack was a Christian. Enthusiastic, kind, quick to help or advise, and he filled a void when we lost Dale. When he said he was riding for the Evans brand, he meant it. So we will strive to honor his legacy and keep running Evans Feed the same way that made Jack proud to represent us. Big boots to fill. Pretty sure he and Dale are singing the jingle together right now. This is Roger Evans for all of us at Evans Feed in Madera, Chowchilla, and Porterville.
Do you own an agricultural business and want to grow and make more money? Then it's time to become an affiliate or a preferred vendor of the Ag Center today. Don York, KMJ Ag Director. You can join agriculture's one and only lead generation and networking platform. Be among other exclusive agricultural businesses offering products, services, consulting, and ag tech to farmers of all sizes. Contact the Ag Center today at theagcenter.com.
This is Jim Patterson. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to represent you in the California State Assembly, and I'm asking for your vote to continue the good work we're doing together. I've shined the bright light of accountability on state bureaucracies that have failed us, like the EDD, DMV, and high-speed rail. And I've protected your hard-earned tax dollars to make sure you get the services you deserve. The amazing staff in my office has helped thousands of people successfully navigate the infuriating maze of state bureaucracies. And I've worked across party lines to address the fentanyl crisis, provide relief and aid to human trafficking victims, and help homeowners impacted by devastating wildfires. And I'm going to try again to pass Gavin's law to increase prison time for hit and run drunk drivers who drink, drive, kill, and run from the scene. Thank you for your vote. I will never take it or you for granted. That's a promise.
Paid for by Patterson for Assembly 2022.
Prepare your senses for all that the Fresno Home Show has to offer. Sponsored by Balanced Comfort Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing. Experience the sights, sounds, tastes, and smells this weekend at the Fresno Fairgrounds. More info at fresnoshows.com.
KMJ. This is the Valley's election headquarters. News Talk 580 AM, 105.9 FM, KMJ Fresno, a Cumulus media station.
It's 4 o'clock in Fresno. I'm Jim Miller in the KMJ News Center. Well, thanks to the recent storm of the favorable weather, China Peak Mountain Resort expects to open for the ski season Saturday, November the 12th. Crews have been making snow in addition to the snow that fell in the Sierra Nevada Tuesday and Wednesday of this week. A larger storm should reach the area by Sunday. It's expected to bring more than a foot of new snow. If conditions remain favorable, the slopes will open with a mix of natural and machine-made snow on Saturday. The Fresno County Sheriff's Office welcoming new staff. 14 deputies were sworn in Thursday, along with 20 correctional officers and 20 professional staff members. 26 promotions were also announced, and 8 people given awards. As KMJ's Liz Kern reports, it was an emotional swearing-in ceremony for the Fresno County Sheriff as she begins to wrap up her 42-year career in law enforcement.
It's the last time that Sheriff Margaret Mims will be at the podium overseeing the welcoming and honoring of employees under her watch.
I've been honored to serve Fresno County as your sheriff for 16 years, and it's time I allow others to take the lead and continue the legacy we strive to fulfill on a daily basis, and that is to serve our community.
Her voice wavering as Sheriff Mims recalled her career in law enforcement. Friends and family members there as 88 new employees joined the Sheriff's Office.
And look forward to seeing you carry on in your path to success. I'm glad that part's over.
Liz Kern, KMJ News.
State officials giving updates on construction projects on Highway 99 in Fresno County. The Department of Transportation recently announced that the Merced Avenue on-ramp south of Fowler will reopen in 2 weeks. With that, the Manning Avenue southbound on-ramp will be closed for construction. Caltrans says crews are working to extend the roadway's life and widen the shoulders. Some context on cases of RSV infections in the U.S. ABC's Derek Dennis reports.
According to the CDC, RSV is not just an infant illness. Cases for all ages are more than twice as high so far this year compared to last year. An estimated 100 to 500 pediatric deaths and 14,000 adult deaths happen each year, mostly among those under 1 year old and over 65. Doctors are seeing more than twice as many cases per week, and the CDC says that's likely leading to more reporting of severe cases. Experts say overall there's very little RSV testing in our country, and there's no specific treatment for mild to moderate RSV, with cases mostly mild. Derek Dennis, ABC News.
Now the forecast from Fox 26's Justin Willis.
Temperatures staying pretty well below normal across the valley. 62 the afternoon high in Fresno. We're normally at 70. Cold with overnight lows in the upper 30s and low 40s. Winter storm watch beginning Sunday and going through Wednesday. 1 to 2 inches of rain expected across the valley during that time, and 1 to 4 feet of snow expected in the Sierra starting at 4,000 feet. From the Fox 26 Weather Center for KMJ, I'm Justin Willis.
With news on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks, and always streaming at KMJNow.com, I'm Joe Miller for News Talk 580, 1059 KMJ.
Thanks, Jim. In Fowler on southbound 99, just north of Manning, a vehicle is losing rocks in the roadway, and that is obviously causing problems for people there. In Porterville, Rich Grove Drive at Avenue 32, a vehicle spun out and lost control, causing an injury accident. And in Lemoore on southbound 41 at State Route 198, heads up, large piece of metal right in the middle of the road. Next update, 417. I'm Greg Lane, KMJ Traffic.
'Tis the season to dash for $550,000 cash. Win your share of $42,000 weekly at drawings every Thursday and Friday. It's the Holiday Dash for Cash giveaway now through December 23rd. Only at Chukchansi Gold Resort and Casino.
KMJ's Afternoon Drive at 490-5858.
And toll free
at 800-776-5858.
So I'm a first-time caller, but I've listened to KMJ for 30 years. 30 years. What? I really like KMJ. I think they're wonderful.
KMJ's Afternoon Drive with Philip and Skip.
I think that the two of you are exceptional people.
Oh, you're scrumptious.
Philip Teresi and Skip Echeverria. KMJ's Afternoon Drive.
It's 4:05 on your afternoon drive at News Talk 580 1059 KMJ. Philip Teresi, Skip Echeverria. Your calls, if you dare, at 490-5858 or 800-776-5858. Got a lot of good stuff coming up for you guys tomorrow on KMJ. Saturday lineup includes Christopher Gabriel program at 10 a.m. Mayo Clinic Labs President Dr. Bill Maurice is going to be talking about the early rise in flu cases and, unrelated, the shortage of amoxicillin for kids in the U.S. Joe and Lisa Basil are going to be talking about the possibility of the United States banning TikTok. There's something I've been advocating for a while. The Joe and Lisa Basil program brought to you by German Auto and Fresno Tire at 11. Mark Capitan at noon. Mike and Dave, the restaurant tours at 1. The Weekend Review Saturday at 2 with a lot of conversation about Measure E. But starting it all off, the guys from Auto Shop Talk are going to be out at Bari Olive Oil's Harvest Festival in Dinuba, 7 to 9, live. And if you're thinking about Christmas shopping, maybe swing by. Say hi to Greg and the boys. Starts 7 o'clock tomorrow morning on KMJ. The Wall Street Journal has an incredibly important and compelling editorial that you absolutely should read and that I believe sincerely nobody will heed. Peggy Noonan writes, "Your duty as a voter is to take the election seriously." And she starts with an anecdote about William F. Buckley. She says that he once received a post-election letter from an elderly liberal saying that she wished that it were not only the number of votes counted, but the weight and worthiness of each. that surely the votes of the thoughtful and the informed should be counted more heavily than those of the frivolous and the knee-jerk. She said that if we did it that way, in her mind at that time, the Democrats would have just won in a sweep and not gone down in defeat. Buckley replied that he too wished that the votes of more knowledgeable people were given greater weight, as this would ensure conservative victories for generations. Peggy Noonan concludes, my goodness, they joked in those days.
It makes me think back to Ruth Bader Ginsburg and Justice Scalia, both very different ends of the spectrum, would go to the opera together. Right. So you could have passionate discussion. You could have conflicting beliefs on things. But ultimately, we were like all people on the same side. I don't feel like that's necessarily that these days, but I understand the idea of thoughtful and informed voting. That's why I skip the ones I don't know.
That's fair.
I think people get their ballots, though, if they make the effort and they're like, well, I can't leave any of these empty.
Yeah, you can. If you just don't know what a thing is, it's called an undervote. You just don't fill in a bubble.
Yeah, we've all been conditioned to fill in the bubbles no matter what. Like when you go to school, don't leave it empty. Something's got to be right. Try it. Not in this case.
Yeah, exactly. Just marking C on everything is not going to get you an average grade.
No, everybody knows if you didn't know, you would go ACDC through the empty ones.
Oh, boy. So Peggy Noonan goes on saying that she reflects back to a column she did last week where she thinks that it's going to be a good night for the Republicans. She thinks they're going to take both houses, and you're going to see some surprise governorships taken as well. And she says that the wave we're in has been building since the spring and summer of 2020 and the protests and the riots that were sparked by the killing of George Floyd. Peggy Noonan says that that was never fully appreciated as the time of traumatic disorder that it was. And she talks about small businesses going up in flames, some downtowns turning into war zones, and that it was just about at that point that the Democratic Party made it obvious that they had gone off the reservation on issues of crime and punishment.
She speaks about the president's speech that took place. Was that yesterday?
Wednesday.
I forget what day. Wednesday. And makes her point that she thinks talking about Paul Pelosi and then January 6th and the big lie was hastily put together, aggressive, and sloppily divisive.
The line here, his speeches seem tired and pre-masticated.
I will note my disagreement with some of that, because I do think that there is a real issue with political violence, because we will get into a topic coming up on that.
Yeah, you're right. The problem is Joe Biden describes the things that he wants you to focus on over and over in what he hopes is moving and passionate language, and it's not resonating because anybody who's emotionally engaged in politics has already made up their mind. Anybody who's really thinking can't help but reflect that a lot of the problems that we are having right now, big systemic, societal, economic, and social problems, come back to Democratic policies.
Well, yeah, because at a couple of points, we talked about this, when you go back into 2008, same thing, you had the majority in both, and you couldn't get things done like an immigration policy. And going into not just the midterms, but the election in 2024, Democrats don't have anybody they can stand behind. Mark my words, it'll be Newsom coming up.
Well, and Noonan says that she goes right to Newsom, and she says he's got it exactly wrong about the party's problem. She says earlier this week, Gavin Newsom insisted that Democrats have a communications and messaging issue. Quote, we're getting crushed on narrative. And Noonan, in my opinion, is absolutely right when she says, nope, Democrats are getting crushed on facts. They're getting crushed by unpopular policies. The answer is to change them, not how you talk about them. Talking about your feelings isn't doing anything for anybody. You've got to talk about facts. She says suburban women don't care about your feelings. They care about real world things. And if you don't understand this, you will not dig your way out. She is hitting the nail on the head. I mean, word for word in this thing. And we'll post the link up so you guys can read it. I mean, there's a lot here that we're kind of skipping over to get to the meat of it. But she comes back around to people who are strategic but not reflective, who are consuming social media and videos instead of literature and information, people who think that Instagramming their breakfast speaks to the voters aren't addressing serious, thoughtful stakeholders.
She makes a lot of really solid points. But I also think that it is dishonest to argue that either of the two parties are getting it right. I think that the swing, if you see one, is because of the frustration over Blue being in charge for a while. Now we'll give Red a go. And this flippy floppy, like, well, I don't like it at mom's house, so I'm going to go to dad's house. But both houses are dysfunctional because there is a lot of fear-mongering, a lot of focusing on some really core, or some really specific things that get inflammatory, but don't actually, like, those aren't the things we need to be talking about and focusing on.
Well, I think that what you're talking about is culture war stuff.
Yeah.
And this is like the habit of the commentariat, as Carville coined it, to spend entire days losing their mind because somewhere in Oregon there is a drag queen story time happening. Yeah, it's alien and it's confusing and it's off-putting to anybody who doesn't know what it's about, has never met a drag queen, and is worried about how kids are being cared for and treated. That's not why people are voting Republican. That's what makes for ratings for the rage clicks and the eyeballs when Tucker Carlson gets on the air. I'm not going to vote for somebody who's going to run legislation against drag queen story hour. You'll notice there's no conversation about that. I'm going to go vote for somebody who is going to work to enforce our laws, hold criminals accountable, and shrink government. I mean, do you realize, and I want to be clear, I'm not picking on you here, but when I say do you realize, I'm speaking very broadly. Our national debt's past $30 trillion.
Yeah. And printing money is not helpful, right? I also think you should tax the super, super, super rich, but no one's listening to me.
And do I think that a truly fair tax would help? Yeah, I do. I really, truly do. And I don't think that it's so much about let's attack the super, super, super rich. I think it's about let's get rid of all of the little nuances and loopholes and back channels that allow for somebody like Elon Musk to pay a lower percentage of his income than all of the people he just fired from Twitter or all of the people who are going to be handing them their car keys for the last time tonight. But if you take all the money away from all the billionaires in the United States, every one of them, if you take all their money away and you leave each of them with a measly $350,000, do you know how much money each of us will get after you wipe out all of the Western billionaires and leave them each with only $350,000?
No.
About 14 grand a piece.
I'd like to see your math on that one, but you got me confused at the beginning of the show, so I don't know if I'd understand it. If you missed that, you can go back to the podcast at kmjnow.com. I think if there's a swing, it's not because of great branding so much as people being irritated about how it's been. I also think, though, if when you look at it, there's a lot of stuff that's been disproportionately blown up and other concerns that are not being taken seriously.
And that, I think, is at the heart of what Peggy Noonan is saying. Don't worry about whatever the latest outrage opportunity is for clicks and for eyeballs on the 24-hour infotainment channels. Worry about what the actual policies passed by our legislatures are really doing to your standard of living. It's the Afternoon Drive on KMJ. Skip Echeverria, Philip Teresi. More to come, including concern about political violence. Are you thinking about it? Is it on your mind as we head into the election? That's Tuesday.
Right now, on South Elm at East American, just occurring an injury accident and some road blockage is also a part of the equation right now. And hopefully we'll get a little bit more information in the next few minutes. On southbound 41 at Jensen, there turns out to be a ladder in the roadway that's causing a hazard in Lemoore, southbound 41 at State Route 198. Large piece of metal in the roadway there as well. Heads up when you're driving. Next update, 4:33. I'm Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
Oh, don't you know? Your O-negative blood saves moms who hemorrhage in childbirth and your family or friends. Make every day into Mother's Day. Find out if you're O-negative by donating now at the Central California Blood Center. Go to donateblood.org.
Join Hala Taha for actionable advice from the brightest minds in the world on the Young and Profiting Podcast. Businessman Jim McKelvey.
I believe you don't use any social media at all. Is that true?
I don't have anything against social media, but I don't choose to use it personally. I feel the same way about drugs. Like, I don't use drugs. I got nothing against drugs. If you want to use drugs, we can still be great friends. A lot of my friends, use a lot of drugs. I just don't do it because, to me, drugs are probably not something I should be using. And I feel the same way about Facebook.
The Young and Profiting Podcast, wherever you listen.
Oh, now you know. The Central California Blood Center needs not just O-negative blood, but all blood, even if you don't know your type. Every single donation has the potential of saving multiple lives, including family and friends. Go to donateblood.org now.
Ad paid for by the Sentinel Group.
Attention, this is an important message for anyone that has been diagnosed with cancer after using such products as Johnson & Johnson baby powder and shower to shower. Recent media studies have shown that use of talcum powder can cause ovarian cancer. If you or a loved one has been diagnosed with ovarian cancer after using these products, then you may be entitled to significant compensation. In July 2018, a jury awarded $4.7 billion to 22 women whose ovarian cancer was linked to Johnson & Johnson's talcum-based products. Don't wait another day to see if you're eligible. Call us at 800-801-3357. That's 800-801-3357. Our network of attorneys are ready to fight for you, and you'll pay nothing unless there is a recovery in your favor. Time restrictions may apply. So call now. 800-801-3357. That's 800-801-3357. Again, 800-801-3357.
Rudy Salas received $80,000 in free trips and gifts. One trip was tied to the Chinese Communist Party, financed by a group trying to influence politicians like Salas. Who's Salas working for? David Valadeo is pro-America. Valadeo pushed to stop China from buying American oil reserves. David Valadeo fighting to cut gas prices. Paid for by Congressional Leadership Fund and not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.congressionalleadershipfund.org. Congressional Leadership Fund is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Sometimes the grass really is greener when you live on the green. Hi, I'm Gary McDonald, and our highly anticipated gated community at Clubview is finally here. Located along the first hole of the beautiful Copper River Country Club, these lots have some of the best views of the course and iconic clubhouse, with new plans and elevations to fit your lifestyle. You can be near it all, but far from ordinary.
Visit our website or call Brian Hurdle at 559-307-1761 for more information. Gary McDonald Homes, California Contractors License number 847905.
Ad paid for by Montreal Drugstore. Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news.
Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. PowerPill allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 per pill? Call today and get 50 Viagra pills for only $99. This could cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call this if you want Viagra at the lowest prices. Never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 per pill. Call 800-204-0017 today to save up to $500 and get 50 pills for just $99. PowerPill is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 800-204-0017 to take your call now. Call 800-204-0017. That's 800-204-0017. Again, 800-204-0017.
'Tis the season to dash for $550,000 cash. Win your share of $42,000 weekly at drawings every Thursday and Friday. It's the Holiday Dash for Cash giveaway now through December 23rd. Only at Chukchansi Gold Resort and Casino.
Midterm election coverage and analysis on KMJ. Now, more with Philip and Skip.
It's the afternoon drive. That's Philip. I'm Skip. We were just talking about this opinion piece that's in the Wall Street Journal. If you're interested, you can check it out. But the too long didn't read version of it is don't vote on things you don't know. Coming up on Tuesday.
Yeah, be serious. Educate yourself.
You can leave some bubbles unmarked.
Yeah. And if for some reason you don't have the time or you don't have the bandwidth, there's another cycle coming.
Yeah.
The 2024 presidential campaign kicks off Wednesday, my friends.
Does it ever? With maybe an announcement on what day was that? The 14th.
I know that the media is saying the 14th right now. I still think Trump's going to announce on Tuesday night. I really do. I think in the middle of
he's gonna be like, "Ha, you think you get the stage tonight? It's my stage." Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen.
I do. I think that Donald Trump's going to announce on election night.
Oh, look at that! What's his name?
George Conway.
George Conway's getting plenty of opportunity to talk about it.
Well, they're trotting out all the winners. Yeah. They had Sarah Palin and Karl Rove on Fox News. They got George Conway up on CNN. It's a matter of time until James Carville, also known as the Mary reanimated skeleton of Hunter S. Thompson, turns up on one of the two. Talking about this Peggy Noonan op-ed. I think that Ms. Noonan is absolutely right. One, in that if you want voting to work, if you want your vote to count, you got to stop. You got to think. You got to really examine what it is you want and who it is that is going to make that effort to deliver it to you. And by the way, if they don't deliver it, kick them out in the next cycle. And we've got an article here from ABC about Americans being apprehensive about, the potential for political violence in this country, and it's everybody's worried about it right now. We have allowed ourselves as a society to become completely bamboozled by social warfare, by salesmanship, and big, bombastic, hyperbolic marketing campaigns that don't speak to the things that really matter. Because, Skip, you, me, Greg, Josh, everybody who's a part of this conversation, we all really want the same things. We want to know that we can afford to keep a roof over our head. We want to know that we're going to continue to be secure in our job. We want to know that we're going to be able to give our kids the things that they need and want. And we want to know that we're going to be able to go about our lives unharmed and uninfringed upon by the government and by other people. That's it. That's all anybody really wants.
It goes down to Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Yes.
Right? Having your needs met. I mean, like the founding fathers were onto something when they talked about all of this.
Life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. I mean,
right.
that's what we really get down to it. That's what we're talking about. And it's that last piece, that pursuit of happiness. And I know that constitutional scholars have argued for centuries now about what exactly that specific turn of phrase meant. And in my mind, It's everything that follows life and liberty. I want to keep a roof over my head, food in my belly. I want to take care of my kids. I want just the ability to simply earn my keep and exist in the world uninfringed upon by the government and bad actors in society. Life and liberty. Pursuit of happiness. I'm a pretty simple guy. You've seen my car. I don't have fancy tastes.
But he does wear fancy shirts every day.
How dare you? Yes, I do have a thing for Ralph Lauren shirts. It's a good cut for me. Okay, I'm a big fat guy. It's nice to have something that'll sit right on my shoulders and not make my belly look like Santa Claus. But I'm also wearing Levi's 501s and a pair of hiking boots I bought a year and a half ago. Like, I'm not. That's me. You know other people who their pursuit of happiness looks very different, and they want a Mercedes, and they want a house on the bluffs, and they want to wear a Rolex, and they want to take vacations in ISBA. And that's cool. That's fine. That pursuit of happiness part, it looks different for all of us. And that's okay. It doesn't matter. The problem is the chattering class, the 24-hour infotainment networks, what used to be the media, and I am looking at both legacy media and social media, have turned making people mad at each other into a profit center.
Well, and yes, but as a result of that, I think that it's given some wiggle room for people to get mouthy and to get demonstrative in the chest puffing. Mm-hmm. And on the far end of things, if it's not straight up bullying, it's flat out political violence or politically motivated violence, which is the part that astounds me, because we should all, I think, understand that the political violence stuff is a problem.
You're absolutely right. And here is the question that I would put across. When you go to this DePap knucklehead that went after Paul Pelosi, or any of these people who have gone out and done something terrible or tried to do something terrible, this nutball that showed up in front of Brett Kavanaugh's house. You know, what's the difference between him and DePap? A broken window and a hammer blow, right? I mean, they were on the same mission, just opposite teams in theory. If you go back and you look at their posts and you look at their rants and you look at their wink wink manifestos, you know what you don't see? Specific policy objectives.
Well, of course, because it's just actually a regurgitation of, I almost said BS, garbage talking points. And yes, that's how I know it. But here's how, and I know we got to get to news in a minute, but here's how I see that play out. Our old boss used to talk about dogs eating their vomit. That's exactly what this reminds me of. I guess it's in the Bible. I don't know. Anyway, there was I don't know. I think he quoted something.
Did anybody else follow that? Okay, go ahead.
Anyway, when those talking points then become ways to target people like me or people I care about, or even people that I don't know but think deserve to have life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that becomes a problem for me.
Yes.
And so while I understand that, you have your little bit of things that would make you happy and you believe that you should have here, and so do I do think that there have been people that have had to fight to be included in that.
Yes.
And also, I would like to have control over my own body.
Yes.
Right? But all of that lost, because now I got to decide between people that I like some of their policies and their politics, but then there's some really big things that come first that are being ignored.
When you subtract the circus, when you subtract all of the clickbait and the nonsense, there are people who are promoting policies that you want. There are people who are promoting policies that you don't want. Vote for the people who are promoting what you want. And if they don't get the job done, fire them in the next cycle.
But then there's those people that have the backbones on policy, but then fall into the absolutely predictable rut of, well, I can't have that on my D background or my R background because I'm going to make the base mad.
And it's time for us to retrain politicians to stop worrying about what Twitter says and instead focus on what the voters want. Let's come back to this. First, we got to get to an update of headlines with Jim Miller in the KMJ newsroom.
KMJ News now.
It's 4:30 in Fresno. I'm Joe Miller in the KMJ News Center. Well, CHP arresting a man driving a big rig this afternoon after they say he was driving under the influence. Multiple people calling 911 to report that big rig weaving and running motorists off the road. One caller said the driver may have been involved in an accident. A citizen followed that truck, then stayed on the phone with the 911 operator to update the location of the truck. CHP located the truck and pulled the driver over at Shaw Avenue and Highway 99 off-ramp. They say the driver failed the sobriety test. They placed him under arrest, and they had that big rig towed. Fresno City Council members taking a step back from the possibility of having a city-owned electric provider. A vote to study possible alternative power sources was tabled yesterday. City leaders held a press conference earlier in the week to speak out against PG&E's increased rates and project delays. Well, thousands losing their jobs at Twitter and tweeting about it. ABC's Derek Dennis reports.
D-Day for Twitter, newly minted CEO Elon Musk laying off scores of employees, a number of them confirming their layoff on Twitter.
What we are witnessing right now is a race to the bottom.
Accountable Tech Executive Director Nicole Gill says it's clear Musk is in charge, already firing top Twitter executives and the company's entire board of directors.
Advertisers are one of the only groups right now that can stand up to Elon.
A class action lawsuit has been filed on behalf of workers alleging Musk has violated California law by enacting layoffs without the required notice. Derek Dennis, ABC News.
Now the forecast from Fox 26's Justin Willis.
Winter storm watch beginning Sunday and going through Wednesday. 1 to 2 inches of rain expected across the valley during that time, and 1 to 4 feet of snow expected in the Sierra starting at 4,000 feet. Temperatures today is staying pretty well below normal across the valley. 62 the afternoon high in Fresno. We're normally at 70. Cold overnight with lows in the upper 30s and low 40s. For KMJ from the Fox 26 Weather Center, I'm Justin Willis.
With news on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks, and always streaming at KMJNow.com, I'm Joe Miller for News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ.
Thank you, Jim. We go to Rosie right now, and State Route 63 at Miller Avenue. Got a non-injury accident being reported in Fresno. Heads up southbound 41, just north of Jensen. Got a ladder in the roadway east and south Elm at East American. There's an injury accident there. They've got the vehicles on the right-hand shoulder, but there are still a lot of personnel on that scene. Our next update is at 4:47. I'm Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
'Tis the season to dash for $550,000 cash. Win your share of $42,000 weekly at drawings every Thursday and Friday. It's the Holiday Dash for Cash giveaway now through December 23rd. Only at Chukchansi Gold Resort and Casino.
Hey, good morning. You're heading to the airport, right?
Yep, thanks for checking. I like the car. How long have you been a rideshare driver?
About 3 years now. I really enjoy it.
Isn't it hard to make money these days with the price of gas being so high?
Not for me. I use Upside, the free app that gives you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get real money back when you get gas with the Upside app?
Yep, I get real cash back every time I get gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make around $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code DRIVE for an extra 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code DRIVE for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code DRIVE.
Measure C was a mistake 20 years ago, and it's a mistake now. We paid the price, but our kids shouldn't. There's no future in Measure C. Vote no. Ad paid for by No on Measure C 2022.
When your business information is missing or inconsistent across the internet, search engines won't find you, and customers won't either. Help ensure customers see you and not your competitors. Boost your findability. CumulusBoost.com. CUMULUS Boost.com.
What's the best product I bought this year?
Oh, that's easy. Salonpas pain-relieving patches. The proven medicines in Salonpas patches reduce my pain and let me do the things I need to do every day.
In a recent clinical study, patients using Salonpas reported improved sleep, mood, and the ability to work. They had less pain and were able to reduce their use of oral pain medications.
For pain, I use Salonpas. It's good medicine.
When a cold comes on strong, knock it out with Vicks DayQuil Severe for max strength daytime relief. Just one dose of Vicks DayQuil Severe starts to relieve 9 of your worst cold and flu symptoms to help take you from 9 to none. Power through your day with Vicks DayQuil Severe, the daytime non-drowsy, coughing, aching, fever, sore throat, 9 to none medicine. Use as directed.
As a California grower, you understand the fight against salts in your soil. If your crops are affected by salts, you need Retrosol. It's a unique bionutritional product designed to improve crop health on saline soils. Retrosol by Valagro helps flush out harmful salts, improving soil structure and plant health. To learn more, come see us in booth 1934 at the Almond Conference. Go to valagrousa.com or call 559-287-7724. Retrosol, protecting crops from high salt stress.
This report is sponsored by Goal Zero. Goal Zero, the leader in affordable home backup systems and solar generators. During a blackout, they can power your fridge, freezer, lights, Wi-Fi, TV, and more with clean power. Learn more at goalzero.com.
It's the afternoon drive with Phillip and Skip on News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ.
It's a source I can trust.
100 years of KMJ. Now more with Skip and Phillip.
Steering back into that skid we were just in, I really think that when it comes to next Tuesday and every election day that comes down the road, I think that you and me and Peggy Noonan and anybody who's really thinking is arriving at the same conclusion. This is hard because it's time consuming, it's energy draining.
And confusing the way it's written.
Well, and the signal to noise ratio has been, and I've got to say, I know how much people love their little glimpses of hidden wisdom. And this might be the one that I have to offer. The signal to noise ratio in this country, when it comes to meaningful civic engagement, is so degraded and out of whack that the effort required for any one individual to go dig in and really understand issues and really understand candidates, it's daunting and exhausting. I mean, honest to God, unless you're a lawyer or you've just got a weird kink for people in robes, when you look at the names of the judges on your ballot, unless you've been in court, do you have any earthly clue who those people are? Do you know where to go to find information about them? Have you heard a peep about them in terms of campaigning? Seen a yard sign? And I'm not picking on the judges. As far as I can tell, it's actually a fine slate of jurists who, as far as I can tell, one and all deserve to be returned to the bench. Certainly there's a couple I've had a chance to talk to, and I've liked a great deal. We are at a point where so much of our mental energy is consumed by stuff that does not matter. We talk about this in the media and how there's massive over-reporting of the big, bad, scary things that makes everybody think that there's a rapist or a child molester waiting behind every trash bin.
People that are generally safe acting like they can't go to a city because it's on fire.
I think that at the point we are today, one of two things has to happen to fix this, because we can fix this.
Yeah, we got to make politics boring again.
Yeah, But in order to do that, we have to get people to really think about it, really engage it. One of two things has to happen. Either there is a sudden, sincere awakening about education in this country that, along with reading, writing, and arithmetic, we have to teach kids how to think, how to be critical and discerning in their consumption of information.
It's not even just kids, though. It's grown adults at this point because we didn't keep up the education with the ability, with how much info we can get.
From your lips to God's ears, but my money's on the kids.
They're just going to wait for us to all be in a home.
The other thing that will break this cycle of constant obsessing over irrelevant social minutia and the desire and the impulse to be involved in and infringing upon anybody else's pursuit of happiness is adverse action from an outside entity. This country may, unfortunately, be forced to experience some sort of serious adversity. And when I say that, I hate this because it makes me sick to my stomach because I worry about my kids when I say it. It may be that either Russia or China moves from cyber back to kinetic warfare. And at that point, this country is going to drop all of the social nonsense, and it's going to get back to we have to preserve the American experiment at all costs.
I actually think, though, that in that case, while there's the big scary, they don't have to because of the cyber warfare perpetuating all of this divisiveness, where if you went back and tracked stuff, it's not necessarily coming from wealth. It's coming from S posters on QAnon and foreign entities that are absolutely using the free marketplace to perpetuate falsehoods, right? And stir people up. But here's the thing that is my new focus. Smart people. Reclaim your energy from obtuse thinkers and bad faith actors who simply want to drain your talents. Preserve it by exiting stage right. That's my new mantra. Because there's a lot of really important stuff there. But like having to get caught up in this nonsense, why aren't so-and-so doing this? Why isn't exhausting.
The only thing that will kill America, really kill America, because right now when we talk about all this intensity and all of this weirdness, and 88% of voters are worried about violence rooted in politics sometime over the next 7 to 10 days. The only thing that will guarantee that this flush succeeds is a brain drain. If the people,
everybody leaving,
if the people who are capable of thought, of critical thought, of empathy, of forethought, of dispassionate judgment, if those people disengage, if those people take their toys and go to Canada or New Zealand or whatever it is that they're going to escape to, then America is done and over with.
Well, I do think that there is, let me go back. COVID and everything that happened, was this moment of hitting pause, and then it all went nuts, right? But that's the last big thing that we've ever had to really face, unless we have another massive economic failure.
Even those things aren't big enough. My opinion is that the level of adversity that this nation has to face as a collective, unfortunately, may have to be existential. That's why I look back to World War II. I don't want to go through that, and I certainly don't want my kids or my grandkids to go through that, but I'm not sure that anything less than that is going to cause all the people that are on Twitter right now telling Alyssa Milano that she's a biatch are going to snap out of it if they don't have to snap out of it.
So Elon takes down Twitter. We make politics boring again. And everybody reads their ballot before they mark their boxes.
At the very least.
Heading to Madera, Avenue 7 and Avenue 7.5. We got a collision being reported at that location. At this point, injuries are unknown. Easton on South Elm and East American, vehicles involved in an injury accident now on the right-hand shoulder. And Arosi on State Route 63 at Miller Avenue, they're dealing with a non-injury accident. Our next update happens at 5:03. I'm Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
'Tis the season to dash for $550,000 cash. Win your share of $42,000 weekly at drawings every Thursday and Friday. It's the Holiday Dash for Cash giveaway now through December 23rd. Only at Chukchansi Gold Resort and Casino.
Calling all early care and education superheroes, Fresno EOC Head Start 0 to 5 is hosting Super Saturday Job Fair. Apply and interview in person this Saturday, November 5th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at 1920 Mariposa Street in downtown Fresno. Help families and children thrive with a career as a teacher, assistant, or administrative support. Apply ahead of time at fresnoeoc.org/careers and upload all documents required on the online application. You can also scan documents and apply at the job fair. Don't miss this opportunity to join the Fresno EOC Head Start 0 to 5 team. Apply and interview in person this Saturday, November 5th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at 1920 Mariposa Street in downtown Fresno. For more information, call 559-263-1200 or go to fresnoeoc.org/careers.
You know, it's true. Difficult times have a way of focusing us. We have to think about what matters most when it comes to our spending, our health care. No doubt. This is why so many people are joining Medishare right now. Medishare is a trusted way to save up to 50% on your monthly healthcare costs. More than 400,000 people have already made the switch. It's pretty obvious why, too, especially now during this challenging season with healthcare costs and out-of-pocket expenses going up. Medishare can save you a lot of money. The typical family saves $500 a month. And Medishare is a Christian healthcare sharing ministry that's worked beautifully for 27 years. There are different options to choose from to fit your budget. I'll give you the number here in a second. And if you call, you can get a price within 2 minutes. Maybe now is the perfect time to make the switch and start saving. Here you go. Call 877-26-BIBLE. That's 877-26-BIBLE. 877-26-BIBLE.
This is a tough time for Fresno County. Families, children, students, everyone is suffering. We can't afford gas, we can't afford food, and we can't afford more taxes. That's why we need to vote no on Measure C. Measure C is a bad deal, crafted behind closed doors by politicians. It'll only get worse. A $7 billion tax we'll pay for the next 30 years. Vote no on Measure C. We can't afford it. Ad paid for by No on Measure C 2022.
Listen, could Gregory change your life?
I went from size 44 pants back to the size 38 pants that I had worn when I was in college. Now the 38-inch pants fall off of me. I lost the weight. I felt better. I've lost 63 pounds and 6 inches of pant size. God bless you for having this product and having it at a reasonable price.
Outstanding. Gregory is 70 and lost belly fat and 6 inches off his waist in 5 months. Since 2004, Andro 400 has been helping men like you lose belly fat, gain energy, and improve their lifestyle. We guarantee it. Go to andro400.com for more true testimonials, before and after photos, and special discounts. Only available on andro400.com. andro400.com.
Attention! This is a special alert for all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an overpriced auto warranty or no warranty coverage at all. Due to the increase of new and used car prices, repair costs, and the price of gas, people are keeping their cars longer than ever, which is why CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on covered auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can save thousands for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. You could save thousands on future auto repairs. Our specialists are standing by for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-423-4161. Vehicle Protection Plan pricing is at an all-time low. Plus, drivers who purchase this coverage today will receive rental car options, free roadside assistance, and free towing. Call 800-423-4161 now for your free quick quote. That's 800-423-4161. What do you have to lose? Call 800-423-4161. Again, 800-423-4161.
So you tested positive for COVID. What's next? Treat yourself. COVID treatments like Paxlovid are free. Taken by pill, these medications can stop the illness from getting serious. So treat yourself. Call a healthcare provider or the statewide COVID hotline at 833-422-4255 to find free treatment today. Again, that's 833-422-4255. Brought to you by the California Department of Public Health.
KMJ radio, streaming, social, smart speakers, on demand, online, anytime. You're always connected with KMJ. KMJ.
It's the afternoon drive coming up on 5 o'clock, where we will have for you a look at your headlines with Jim Miller, drive home to get started on a weekend with Greg Lane, and we will do your trending topics. But we touched on this a couple of times in our previous conversation, Philip and I, and it's worth bringing up because folks are going to be heading to the polls. Yeah. And there's some stuff going back and forth about armed people at the polls and all that kind of, or at drop boxes.
Now, so far, as I know, that's been in Arizona. I've heard no reports of vigilante poll watchers at drop boxes in Fresno.
No, but it was a big story because it got blocked by a judge said nope. Of course, it happened in Arizona. Anyway, there is broad bipartisan numbers that show Americans are concerned about political divisions and an increasing risk of politically motivated violence. Now, who gets to blame depends on which station you're watching, but this is a real concern. I'm not concerned so much about the crime that other people talk about personally, as opposed to the regular risk of just walking around as a female. But political crime is the thing that I am most worried about. Not hammer wielding, but the screaming, the yelling, the shoving, the intimidation, people getting spicy. Setting hay bales on fire in Tulare County.
I'm not overtly concerned with it. Obviously, I don't want it to happen, but it's not something that I have lost sleep over. And I think that a big part of why you're seeing this massive number of people expressing this concern is specifically because this comes on the heels of that attack on Paul Pelosi, because it's such an egregious thing. I mean, the husband of the Speaker of the House of Representatives gets hit in the head with a hammer in his own home. It's absolute insanity. There will be political violence, and I hate it, and I hope that the people who are responsible for it are held accountable swiftly and severely. I don't anticipate it being an issue in every town in America. I think you're going to get stories out of some of the hotbeds, places like Arizona, where it's been ratcheted up to 11. I'd actually be kind of shocked if nothing happens in Maricopa County. But in terms of roving lunatics in the streets of California, no more than usual.
I think that in some ways, though, the extreme tribalism of politics has allowed some people to work out that angst in ways that, maybe in the past you just didn't do. Or you went into a mosh pit, or you went into a boxing ring, or you learned MMA or whatever.
One of the questions that I think would be interesting to, and I imagine that in time, in long time, with the advantage of some sort of historical perspective, I want to know why everybody's so mad. Because we've been having elections around here for 250 years.
It's a choice.
No, I understand that it's a choice.
Because it feels good. Eat a
And
cake.
I get that. Why?
Because it's a whole lot easier to be mad and angry and feel like there's fire than to actually like go out into the world and engage and work on yourself and all of those. It's so much easier to just get pissed.
So it's a compensation for encroaching nihilism?
Yes.
Okay, you're doing it wrong. Go do some volunteer work.
Missed part of the show? Get the Afternoon Drive podcast at kmjnow.com or by searching KMJ's Afternoon Drive in Apple Podcasts or Spotify.
This is Sheriff Margaret Mims. Please vote to elect Diane Pierce to the Clovis City Council. I'm endorsing Diane because of her no-nonsense support of public safety. Diane understands the primary role of local government is for the safety of our citizens. Her commitment to law enforcement will keep schools, businesses, and neighborhoods safe. That is why Clovis business owners, Assemblyman Jim Patterson, Supervisor Nathan Magsig, and me, Sheriff Margaret Mims, are supporting Diane Pierce for Clovis City Council. Thank you.
This is Supervisor Nathan Magsig. I'm supporting Diane Pierce for Clovis City Council. Diane is a small business owner and community volunteer. Her core values of community, family, and safety, and her ability to work with others will help advance our city council while protecting our Clovis way of life. I know Diane, and she will make a great council member. Please join me, Supervisor Nathan Magsig, and vote Diane Pierce for Clovis City Council.
Paid for by Diane Pierce for Clovis City Council 2022.
Ad paid for by Anthem Tax Services. Attention! If you or your business is behind in filing your tax returns, or if you owe over $10,000 in back taxes to the IRS, please listen carefully. The IRS does not joke around and will not stop their collection efforts. If you're tired of the IRS letters, levies, liens, or wage garnishments and would like to get a fresh start, we can help. Due to the financial hardships in the country, the IRS is making it easier than ever to settle tax problems for those who owe more than $10,000. We can help settle your delinquent tax problems, end all collections, and may even reduce your back taxes by up to 99%. Even if you can't afford to pay your back taxes, you can still get the help you need. We've helped thousands of taxpayers just like you, but you must call 800-793-1525 today to stop your tax problem from getting worse. The information is free and the help is real. Call 800-793-1525. That's 800-793-1525. Again, 800-793-1525.
'Tis the season to dash for $550,000 cash. Win your share of $42,000 weekly at drawings every Thursday and Friday. It's the Holiday Dash for Cash giveaway now through December 23rd. Only at Chukchansi Gold Resort and Casino.
News Talk 580 AM 105.9 FM KMJ Fresno, a Cumulus Media station.
KMJ.
It's 5 o'clock in Fresno. I'm Joe Miller in the KMJ News Center. The streets of downtown Sanger are going to be lined with thousands of people from across the Sanger community and nearby areas for the 12th annual Sanger Veterans Parade Saturday. Before it celebrates its veterans, it's asking for those in the public to help with safety measures. Sanger seeks volunteers to assist with public safety ahead of its Veterans Parade. The Veterans Parade will begin with opening ceremonies at 10:30 a.m. at the intersection of 7th and N Streets in downtown Sanger. The parade will then begin at 11 a.m. Families, community members, and attendees can line the parade route and enjoy the floats, music, and celebration of Sanger's veterans. A swearing-in ceremony today at Fresno City Hall. Police Chief Paco Balderrama welcomes 61 new members to the police family, 43 new police officers, as well as dispatchers, community service officers, records technicians, and crime scene investigators. The suspect who led deputies on a lengthy chase through Fresno Wednesday night remains in custody at the Fresno County Jail.
Around 11:40, Fresno County Sheriff's deputies tell us they tried to pull over 26-year-old Matthew Clark for a code violation near Clinton and Maple in central Fresno. Instead of stopping, deputies say he sped away. As the chase ensued, deputies tell us Clark crashed into a wall on the Highway 41 and 180 interchange in Fresno. Now, we're told that gave deputies enough time to stop and arrest him. He is now in Fresno County Jail, where he is ineligible for parole.
Fresno City Council members taking a step back from the possibility of having a city-owned electric provider. A vote to study possible alternative power sources was tabled yesterday. City leaders held a press conference earlier in the week to speak out against PG&E's increased rates and project delays. Valley growers can help with efforts to determine the health of the pollination industry. KMJ Ag Director Don York reports.
The Ag Department's National Agricultural Statistics Service
is mailing out a survey to more than 2,700 California producers. USDA reminds us that honeybees are important pollinators of crops ranging from almonds to zucchinis, and the survey will help to accurately depict the health of the pollination industry in the U.S. Growers will be asked about their use of honeybees, the fees they pay for honeybee pollination, and any other expenses related to pollinating their crops. Growers can respond securely online at accounts.usda.gov through the respondent portal or by mail or by fax. The government will publish the survey data in early January. Don York, KMJ News.
Now the forecast from Fox 26's Justin Willis.
Winter storm watch beginning Sunday and going through Wednesday. 1 to 2 inches of rain expected across the valley during that time, and 1 to 4 feet of snow expected in the Sierra starting at 4,000 feet. Temperatures today is staying pretty well below normal across the valley. 62 the afternoon high in Fresno. We're normally at 70. Cold overnight with lows in the upper 30s and low 40s. For KMJ from the Fox 26 Weather Center, I'm Justin Willis.
With news on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks, and always streaming at KMJNow.com, I'm Joe Miller for News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ.
Out and about on the freeways, northbound 41 from the 180, that normal afternoon slow-moving traffic is there again. In Madera, Avenue 7 at Avenue 7.5, got a collision being reported. Southbound 99 at Avenue 12 in Madera, a report of slow-moving traffic. And in Easton, South Elm at American, the scene of an injury accident. There is now a report that there is some road closure in that area. Our next update is 5:17. I'm Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
'Tis the season to dash for $550,000 cash. Win your share of $42,000 weekly at drawings every Thursday and Friday. It's the Holiday Dash for Cash giveaway now through December 23rd. Only at Chukchansi Gold Resort and Casino.
Now, the Valley's Afternoon Drive. Philip Teresi and Skip Echeverria. From AM Radio 580
To the internet, KMJNow.com.
From Warren G. Harding to
Let's Go Brandon.
From 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. It's the Afternoon Drive with Philip and Skip.
100 years of KMJ.
News, talk, radio.
It's 5:05 on your afternoon drive at News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ. Worldwide, you can listen to KMJNow.com. You can follow the show on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Drive KMJ. You can watch the show on Facebook Live, YouTube, and Twitch.tv, also at Drive KMJ. Joshua Weekly is standing by to screen your calls this afternoon as I join Skip Echeverria back in the KMJ studios with your trending topics at 5 o'clock.
A fentanyl overdose prevention event hit a roadblock in Sanger when event organizers failed to file a permit in time to coordinate with the city's Veterans Day festivities. Time and Destiny and Warrior of Faith will now host the event at their church at 325 L Street tomorrow, 1 p.m. There will be a Narcan training, distribution, and live testimonies.
Fresno City Council yesterday decided to table the vote on whether or not to look into options for alternatives to PG&E. The vote has been tabled until the first meeting of December on the 1st of the month. Fresno City Councilman Mike Carbasi joined the show to discuss, and you can hear that conversation in the podcast section at KMJNow.com.
2 junior high students have been arrested after police say they were responsible for a social media threat aimed at Woodrow Wilson Junior High School that put the school district and police department on high alert yesterday. Both young teens were arrested and faced legal and disciplinary actions by both the school and police department.
Jessica Cisneros of Yosemite Middle School from Fresno Unified School District won a $5,000 gift card from Staples in their 4th annual Thank a Teacher contest. This gives students and parents a chance to recognize an outstanding teacher like Jessica, who's made a positive impact on the lives of their students.
Synagogues across the country were on high alert after a man allegedly threatened the New Jersey Jewish community. Newark's FBI office identified the source of the threat and states the young man is, quote, he no longer poses a danger to the community.
A 20-foot great white shark was caught on camera by a man on a 19-foot vessel in the San Francisco Bay, further confirming, in Skip's opinion, you shouldn't get into the water.
I was hoping I'd be able to read that one. A week after the attack on Paul Pelosi, husband of Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi, 88% of adults expressed concern that political divisions have gotten to the point that there's an increased risk of politically motivated violence in the U.S. Who gets the blame, however, differs sharply among partisan and ideological groups.
That is your trending topics at 5 o'clock. For those stories and a lot more, get the podcast with Stitcher, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or Amazon Music. Anywhere you like to listen. Search for KMJ's Afternoon Drive or head over to KMJnow.com. Hit the podcast tab. Not only will you find all of our stuff, but you'll find content from the entire KMJ team. 5:08 now on your drive home. Once again, that's Skip Echeverria. I'm Philip Teresi. Phones are open for your calls at 490-5858 or 800-776-5858. And I feel like it's Friday.
It's Friday, 5 o'clock. Congratulations, you made it to a weekend. Before we jump into this, can I do a reminder?
Of course.
Oh, just a heads up. On Sunday is the Two Cities Marathon.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So if you're going to be going into Northeast Fresno, they've had signs up all over Blackstone, down there by River Park and whatnot. There are going to be a ton of closures in that area as they do the Two Cities Marathon that starts and finishes at Beeheimer and Willow. Avoid the area, or just know that when you get there, you're going to have to wait for people or whatnot. So just take a look at it. You can go to the Two Cities Marathon website and find all of it. But that is going to be a mess on Sunday if you're trying to get from point A to point B without a detour.
For those of you that just went, oh my God, you screwed up my breakfast plans, don't worry. There's also Huckleberry's locations at Bullard and First and in Clovis, right next to the new Costco.
So just Huckleberry's is good. We haven't been there in a while. I think they're opening one, or they did on the west side of Fresno too. Over what that Chubby's was. Am I right? Or is that something else? Out that way.
You are correct, but I do not believe it is open yet. The thing I saw that I'm really excited about, there's a Cup of Joy going in at Bullard and Palm.
Yeah, they took out the little leaf tea. Yeah. You know what they serve at Cup of Joy?
Coffee.
Crave cookies.
Oh, really?
That's where Crave got its start.
Oh, really? I had no idea. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Good for them. Well,
So anyway.
I'm excited to have Cup of Joy by the house. I may even, make that my Sunday walk now. They've got to have a dog-friendly patio.
That would be such a great thing if you posted up at Cup of Joy to do all of the show prep.
Hey man, one of my favorite people in the education sphere, Dr. Brian Talalian from West Hills. His office away from the office has been Cup of Joy in Clovis forever.
Oh, really? Okay.
Well, so I'm used to seeing Brian in work mode, and so it's usually like khakis and a tie and a blazer. Like he's a professional, and he's a professor, so he dresses the part. And so that's how I'm used to interacting with him. And I go walking into Cup of Joy one afternoon. We were just out in Clovis bumping around with the family, wife and kid. And we go cruising in there. And this guy comes over and starts talking to me. And it took me fully 2 minutes to realize, oh my God, Professor Talalian owns blue jeans.
Well, it's okay, because sometimes your brain just does not compute. When you see somebody so outside of their normal.
It was so removed from context. And honestly, if he'd been wearing the blazer and the tie, I would have got it like right away. But it's just something about him in casual clothes. It was like the dude's always
buttoned up,
dialed in. So anyways, there is this is a thing because of course it is National Sandwich Day. I don't know when it is and I don't care, but there is a California restaurant, specifically a restaurant in Monterey County, ranked as the best sandwich shop in California.
And you will be so excited because they are known for their tri-tip sandwiches. It is Prunedale Market and Deli, best known for the tri-tip sandwiches, soups, and barbecue entrees.
Yelp users are very up on this. Food portions, atmosphere, and employees all hit the button. One user saying, it's the best. If you're in the area, it's a must. The owner is the nicest guy. Treats you like he's known you your whole life. Restaurants open 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Tuesday through Saturday, but they do close early if they sell out of food.
Okay. So what I love about this article from KTLA is that in an effort to make it accessible to other people, they said for Californians looking for a good sandwich but can't drive out to Prunedale, restaurants like Popeyes and Quiznos are offering deals for National Sandwich Day, I guess. Also Subway. Thanks?
Not the same thing.
No.
Not the same thing.
Okay, so this has got me thinking. I could eat sandwiches for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They are the perfect food, in my humble opinion.
Yeah. Yeah.
But now I've got to think about like where I've had my like the best sandwich. And I think that there's different categories because there's hot sandwiches and then there's cold sandwiches.
That's a reasonable distinction to make. Sequoia Sandwich Company out at Herndon and Willow, when I still lived on that side of town, that was one of my absolute favorite spots. That they do a fantastic job. And there was, oh boy, all of my Champlain and Perrin people are going to be screaming themselves hoarse at me. It was at the northwest corner of Champlain and Perrin, so the same corner as the library, but it was right out on the corner. And I want to say it was like the Great Harvest Bread Company.
Oh yeah. I used to go and buy the cinnamon bread there, but I never ate there, just got the bread.
So they did unbelievable sandwiches. Lately, Deli D right over here,
Mm-hmm.
they always do fine. And have you had Ike's Lovin' Sandwiches?
I've had that before, yeah.
I'm not big on like fusion and fooling with formulas. Surprise everybody. I'm kind of boring and stuck in my ways. Somebody told me I had to try Ike's. They had a fried chicken sandwich. And
I do love a good fried chicken sandwich.
Holy smokes. It was worth the trouble. What about you? What's open now that you're into?
Okay, so I want to mention really quick, I looked up Prunedale Market. They have a 5-star on Yelp. But this is where it's a curveball for me because they are on it for their barbecue sandwiches.
Mm-hmm.
And barbecue sandwiches are a very, like I said, hot food, cold food thing. Sometimes I just love good crusty bread, prosciutto, and maybe some cheese on it, but doesn't even need it.
No sauce?
No.
Okay.
Like some of that like real simple stuff
Yeah.
is delightful. Now, as for like a full sandwich, I mean, you can go to like Deli D. That's good. The Capriotti's Wagyu roast beef is delightful.
That is my kid's favorite sandwich, hands down.
Yeah. I mean, like if I had to pick a place right now to go and get a sandwich, that would be that order.
Yeah.
I love a good banh mi sandwich.
What is that?
You can find them at like Vietnamese food places.
Okay.
So it was fusion of Vietnamese food and French food, the bread, because of like occupations and whatnot.
Sure.
So crusty French bread, I like to get it with the grilled pork, and then they'll put jalapenos on there, and then I think it might be a little bit of mayo, and then the is it called daikon?
Okay.
It's like a it's not pickled, but it kind of is, and carrots.
Okay.
And it's on there. It's kind of like a slaw, but it's not dripping in stuff. Oh, it's so good. Oh, man, I'm so hungry right now. See, that's the thing about a sandwich. If I could just have a resident sandwich maker and they'd have to ration me on the bread, I would eat sandwiches. They are the perfect food. I could eat sandwiches the rest of my life. Every day.
Yeah. No, I agree. That's been my go-to for lunch for
or like a grilled
15
cheese
years.
sandwich or a BLT. Man, I went through a BLT phase.
I know there's restaurants that do grilled cheese. I've never had a grilled cheese as good as a grilled cheese made at home in the pan. However you like it prepared, I've never had a better grilled cheese than one made at home in the pan. It
tastes better at home.
Restaurants try, but they do something different, and it's always a little extra, and I don't want extra. I want butter. I want white bread. For me, actually, it's American cheese is my go-to, but I know some people can't do the processed cheese. But that's it. Don't foo-foo it. Don't season it. Don't fool with it. It is there to be dipped into a bowl of tomato soup.
I put mayo on mine. I like mayo. It's the same thing. It's just eggs and what else is in mayo?
Eggs.
Eggs.
Yeah.
It's just a fat, butter, mayo, same.
Yeah, no, I know that is a way to prepare it, and this is why I don't get grilled cheese in restaurants, because they do nonsense like that. Butter, salted, full cream, butter. Challenge butter, hard. You have to let it sit on the counter for like an hour before you try to make the sandwich.
That's some preparation there.
On the roadways, on northbound 41 coming off the 180, there's still a bunch of slow-moving traffic there right now. And in Madera, they are cleaning up a crash at Avenue 7 at Avenue 7.5, and southbound 99 in Madera at Avenue 12 starts some slow-moving traffic. And in Orosi on Avenue 416 at State Route 63, they're dealing with a non-injury accident. Next update, 5:33. I'm Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
'Tis the season to dash for $550,000 cash. Win your share of $42,000 weekly at drawings every Thursday and Friday. It's the Holiday Dash for Cash giveaway now through December 23rd. Only at Chukchansi Gold Resort and Casino.
Calling all early care and education superheroes, Fresno EOC Head Start 0 to 5 is hosting Super Saturday Job Fair. Apply and interview in person this Saturday, November 5th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at 1920 Mariposa Street in downtown Fresno. Help families and children thrive with a career as a teacher, assistant, or administrative support. Apply ahead of time at fresnoeoc.org/careers and upload all documents required on the online application. You can also scan documents and apply at the job fair. Don't miss this opportunity to join the Fresno EOC Head Start 0 to 5 team. Apply and interview in person this Saturday, November 5th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at 1920 Mariposa Street in downtown Fresno. For more information, call 559-263-1200 or go to fresnoeoc.org/careers.
For Rudy Salas, life is one big party. Salas didn't show up for work almost 450 times, but he always showed up to collect his taxpayer-funded paycheck. And Rudy Salas made sure to show up for free luxury vacations and lavish parties paid for by lobbyists and special interests. And while Rudy Salas was out having a good time, we got hammered by higher inflation and the Salas 73-cent per gallon increase in the price of gas, costing us more every time we buy groceries or fill up our tank. Rudy Salas shouldn't represent us because he only looks out for himself. David Valadeo is on our side, a farmer and bipartisan problem solver. David Valadeo passed landmark legislation to improve health care, help veterans, and protect our water. David Valadeo is fighting for the Central Valley.
I'm David Valadeo. I'm running for Congress, and I approve this message.
Ad paid for by Money.com. Are you worried about inflation and the rising cost of living? Well, you're not the only one. That's why many recommend investing via a traditional gold IRA. This way, your investment is held in a tax-deferred account, so your contributions and gains will not be taxed. Gold is often thought of as a safe, long-term investment. With demand for gold on the rise, now could be an ideal time to invest. And when you consider current inflation rates, a gold IRA may be a sound move if you're looking for a hedge against risk. Interested in learning more about gold IRAs? Call today to get a free investing kit, and a rep can walk you through the process. 30 million people have already invested in gold. If you're not protected against inflation and market volatility, well, you probably should be. Call 800-869-2045. That's 800-869-2045. Start investing in gold today. Call 800-869-2045. Again, 800-869-2045.
Rudy Salas received $80,000 in free trips and gifts. One trip was tied to the Chinese Communist Party, financed by a group trying to influence politicians like Salas. Who's Salas working for? David Valadeo is pro-America. Valadeo pushed to stop China from buying American oil reserves. David Valadeo, fighting to cut gas prices. Paid for by Congressional Leadership Fund and not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.congressionalleadershipfund.org. Congressional Leadership Fund is responsible for the content of this advertising.
KMJ is proud to welcome the Trans-Siberian Orchestra Winter Tour, The Ghosts of Christmas Eve, to the Safe Mart Center Thursday night, December 1st, 7:30 p.m. Listen to The Ray Appleton Show all this week for your shot to call in and win tickets to the show and get qualified for the grand prize drawing, an autographed Trans-Siberian Orchestra guitar and merchandise pack. You won't want to miss one of the most popular groups in the modern era, the Trans-Siberian Orchestra. Click on the events tab at kmjnow.com.
What I think's wrong with California, and we have extreme right, extreme left, and there's a whole bunch of us that are in the middle that are just trying to solve some problems.
Where elections are won and lost. News Talk 580 1059 KMJ.
That's Philip. I'm Skip. It's Friday after 5. Woo! You made it. And don't forget this weekend to turn your clocks back on Sunday, or just let your phone do what your phone's going to do. But it's going to be weird because you're going to wake up and you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I have another hour of sleep. Okay, so we were just talking about the best sandwich in California is at a place called the Prunedale Market and Deli. It's important to know that that is a barbecue sandwich that has been ranked up there at the top. Now let's go to this hot mess. How do you go from, we were talking about delicious, delightful stuff, to the cheese chunk sandwich?
This is just.
It's so British.
It is the British people living up to the stereotype
that they have terrible taste in food.
I am horrified by my Anglo-Saxon cousins that anybody, guys, you got to see this thing. It is a white roll, not sourdough. It is a white bread roll with what appears to be not mustard, but perhaps that weird blend of mustard and mayonnaise.
It's called salad cream, I think is what they're talking about.
Uncooked white onion and a slab of white cheese. Not Swiss, not provolone, not Gouda, just white cheese.
Not even like the hard cheese. So I don't know if you've ever had it, but there's a Basque cheese. I think they call it dry Monterey Jack or something like that. I don't remember. But you dry it out. It's hard and you eat it by itself. Big chunks.
I have not had it, but having witnessed how weird people can be with like Romano and Parmesan, I'm not surprised.
So that you eat in big chunks. But this, like, I imagine taking a bite into this and that melting to the top of your mouth and like gobbing to the roof of it and all of your teeth. But this is a delicacy apparently at a Bristol pub called Sugarloaf.
This is disgusting. And yet they're snapping them up. He says he can sell 70 rolls on a weekend when there's a soccer game on TV.
You know what it is? It goes along with the soaking up the booze. One of the quotes. They are basic sustenance after work and go nicely with a pint of cider. They make you more thirsty too.
Yeah, because you just ate a block of cheese with a quarter of an onion and salad sauce.
Oh, man.
On the funkiest chunk of white bread you've ever seen. Have you been to the UK?
Yes.
So did somebody talk you into going and having the full English breakfast? Have you had that experience?
I did not eat it. I did not eat it. I do like that they have beans with their breakfast, like baked beans, those are delicious. But and I like the little tomatoes that they do and all that stuff. But I was going nowhere near haggis or blood sausage. Blood sausage is also a popular thing with Basque people. Nope.
I don't mind blood sausage if I've got something else to cut it with, which is why you would go for a full English breakfast. So you've got something other than blood sausage to work off of. But yeah, I'm if I don't have to watch the preparation of haggis, I'm good because it's fine once it's out. It's just that whole watching them reopen the sheep's stomach thing that's, I don't know why, it reminds me more than anything in this world of a cesarean section.
Well, it's interesting too because like menudo is really, I don't eat it, but I know that people love it. It's a texture thing for me.
I love menudo.
Right? But it's basically like, why is that any different than haggis?
It's not. It's Mexican haggis.
It's the name. Which one sounds better? Menudo? Haggis. Which one sounds more delightful?
I know what they are, so it's lost on me. Mm-hmm. But I agree that generally speaking, Latin food names have a more attractive tone to them.
Haggis.
You would think after centuries of conquering the world, after 1,000 years of primacy in their hemisphere, you would think the English, with all the stuff that they pilfered and stole and commandeered, that maybe they would have just bopped over to France for a minute and been like, recipe book.
Yeah, like just tasting food would have made its way over. I mean, I do like a good shepherd's pie, but I don't even know if that's British so much as like Irish.
In my opinion, that's an Irish dish.
Yeah. Well, look, I guess.
But I guess it depends. Did you make it with slow roasted lamb and gravy and tomatoes
I'll even eat it with hamburger meat. I don't care.
Peas and onions and that baked crust, almost like a pot pie, or did you make it with Wonder Bread and a slice of Spam and Velveeta? Because that's what the English would do.
You know what I think it is? This line right here that from the landlord at the Sugarloaf, where he says it's basic sustenance. I think if you go back all the way, like that was their approach to food.
The austerity
right?
thing.
Yeah, like you got to have biscuits that'll withstand being at sea or something. And so they just never got down on the food.
In all of your traveling, and you talk about you don't do menudo, you won't do haggis, all of that. In all of your traveling, did you ever order something that when it was brought to the table, you went, oh, whoops?
I'm sure that there has been those situations. The thing that makes me think about that, though, is this was one of my favorite but saddest stories of my dad coming to the States.
Yeah.
My dad didn't speak English when he came to the States. He was recruited as a shepherd to come over, work with the, visa, whatever, in a Basque community, stayed in a Basque camp. Anyway, he ends up in California and he goes into a restaurant, and this is how he shared. He orders tortilla, right? Spanish is crossing, they speak Spanish, whatever, but anyway, and they're like, tortilla? And they says tortilla. And he is expecting this beautiful dish that my grandma made, that has eggs and potatoes and meat and onion. It's like kind of like a quiche, right? And you make it in like a cast iron skillet.
Yeah.
So good. So good. And what they brought him was a tortilla.
Yeah.
And that was the moment he realized he's not at home anymore. So I think that would be the most heartbreaking thing that I would think of. But I love both kinds of tortillas, so it's fine.
So Mrs. Teresi went to Spain on a training trip for this student travel thing that she does every other summer. And while she was there, her and her friend Trish had the afternoon off from training to go out and explore Barcelona. And so they go and they have dinner, and then they pop into a bar or a cafe, whatever, and they're ordering drinks. I don't know if Mrs. Teresi has ever, up to this point in her life, I don't know if she's ever ordered a martini in a bar.
Okay.
I think the only martini she's ever had is
what you make.
What I make. And I don't actually make martinis. I actually make vodka gimlets with a little bit of olive juice and a couple of Spanish queens on a spear.
Okay.
Because what Americans mean by martini is either gin or vodka with a little vermouth, and either you're going for the Gibson with the cocktail onion, or you're going for the olives.
I thought you'd go for what are the girly ones?
Well, that used to get like
Cosmo
and all
stuff.
that stuff.
Okay,
yeah.
got it.
But like a real martini in terms of like what James Bond is ordering.
James Bond, shaken not stirred.
2 parts gin, 1 part dry vermouth, and a cocktail olive, shaken in ice and poured neat. Spain doesn't do either kind of martini. So she orders this, and the man looks at her and says, martini, please. And he brings her a glass with Martini and Rossi vermouth on ice. It is just an icy glass of sweet red vermouth. She had no idea what this guy brought her. Because apparently in Spain, martini's just a brand of vermouth. If you want...
What's vermouth like? Because I don't know that I've had... Is that... I'm thinking like grenadine?
No, it's depending on whether you get dry or sweet. It's a kind of fortified wine.
Oh.
But it's nobody drinks vermouth straight.
Okay.
It would be like...
What did she do? Did she drink it because she didn't want to look weird?
Well, she had a sip, realized it was not what she wanted, and then explained what she wanted to the waiter, who said, "Oh, vodka gimlet with olive juice."
It was your fault.
Absolutely, it was my fault. 100%. So if you're ever in Barcelona, don't order a martini. Just tell them how you want your drink.
KMJ News now.
It's 5:30 in Fresno. I'm Joe Miller in the KMJ News Center. Well, the pool of first-time home buyers got smaller and older last year's prices, and higher interest rates continue to price many would-be buyers out of the market. The National Association of Realtors releasing its annual profile of home buyers and sellers Thursday. It found the boom in housing prices brought on by a pandemic-era surge in activity and increasing mortgage rates led to fewer people being able to buy their first home. First-time buyers made up 26% of sales this year, the lowest total since the group began collecting the data. People buying their first home also got older, rising to 36 this year compared to 33 last year, another all-time high. If it isn't severe weather that's disrupting airline travel, it's COVID. If it isn't COVID, it's an unruly passenger. And if it isn't an unruly passenger, it's Chinese space junk. Really?
This is Jim Ryan. While SpaceX has mastered the art of the reusable rocket that makes a soft landing after launch, the Chinese still depend on gravity 100% to deal with their space debris. This morning, the airspace over a large swath of Spain was closed, and online betting pools took wagers on where a 23-ton rocket launched a few days ago from China would fall back to Earth. The concern, of course, was that it might land on a populated area. The U.S. Space Command now says it came down in the South Central Pacific Ocean and was a threat to no one. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Now the forecast from Fox 26's Justin Willis.
Winter storm watch beginning Sunday and going through Wednesday. 1 to 2 inches of rain expected across the valley during that time, and 1 to 4 feet of snow expected in the Sierra starting at 4,000 feet. Temperatures today is staying pretty well below normal across the valley. 62 the afternoon high in Fresno. We're normally at 70. Cold overnight with lows in the upper 30s and low 40s. For KMJ from the Fox 26 Weather Center, I'm Justin Willis.
With news on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks, and always streaming at KMJNow.com, I'm Joe Miller for News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ.
Thank you, Jim. On the roadways right now, northbound 41 still slow go from the 180. Madera's got some problems, too. They're cleaning up from a collision on Avenue 7 at Avenue 7.5. Some tow trucks are there. Southbound 99 in Madera, Avenue 12 starts a slow-moving traffic. Northbound 99 at Avenue 7, same thing, slow-moving traffic. And also, Orosi Avenue 416 to State Route 63 got a non-injury accident. And our next update is at 5:47. I'm Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
Oh, don't you know? Just a few teaspoons of your O-negative blood can save the lives of premature babies and your family or friends. Find out if you're O-negative by donating now at the Central California Blood Center. Go to donateblood.org.
In 1893, the citizens of Madera voted to break away from Fresno County. Now, the Fresno politicians want to Fresno our Madera. There is one person that can stop the Fresno politicians. That person, Andy Wheeler. Andy Wheeler's lived in District 1 for over 24 years, where he raised his family. And he's a financial advisor, so when it comes to budgets, there's no one better to watch over our tax dollars. He's a school board member and used real science to get our kids back in school. Andy's experience has earned him the endorsements of every Madera County public safety organization, including our own Madera County Sheriff, Tyson Pogue. Sheriff Pogue says, I'm supporting Andy Wheeler for supervisor in District 1. His professionalism and dedication to the community is second to none. Join Sheriff Pogue, the Madera Deputy Sheriff's Association, the Madera Police Officers Association, and the Madera County Firefighters Local 2881, and vote for Andy Wheeler for supervisor.
Paid for by Andy Wheeler for Madera County Supervisor, District 1, 2022.
Plant now, bloom later, and shop all Christmas decor and gifts at the Willow Gardens Holiday Boutique, now open. Willow Gardens is your one-stop shop this holiday season for plants, holiday decor, and Christmas gifts. Located at Willow and International in Clovis, stop by Willow Gardens for Christmas floral, ribbon, and endless decor. While you're there to deck your halls, deck your yard with their fall and winter shrub and trees. Get to Willow Gardens this holiday season, open 7 days a week. They deliver, plus they give 10% off for veterans and seniors. Some exclusions may apply.
Listen to Kelvin. What he's about to say could change your life.
I'm 6'2", and I was about 290, and I lost weight fast. I trimmed down. Now I'm about 235. I'm probably at about 9, maybe 10% body fat. That's great. I lost probably at least 60 pounds in probably 3.5, 4 months. Color of my hair is coming back. Skin looks better. Obviously gaining muscle. My muscle mass is coming back. Thank you for providing an awesome product. Somebody who actually has and does what they say they will. That's awesome.
That's great, Kelvin. Losing that belly fat in less than 4 months is outstanding. Since 2004, Andro 400 has been changing men's lives, like Kelvin, and can help you lose belly fat, gain energy, and improve your lifestyle. We guarantee it. Go to andro400.com for more true testimonials, before and after photos, and special discounts. Only available on andro400.com. andro400.com.
Oh, now you know. The Central California Blood Center needs not just O-negative blood, but all blood, even if you don't know your type. Every single donation has the potential of saving multiple lives, including family and friends. Go to donateblood.org now.
'Tis the season to dash for $550,000 cash. Win your share of $42,000 weekly at drawings every Thursday and Friday. It's the Holiday Dash for Cash giveaway now through December 23rd. Only at Chukchansi Gold Resort and Casino.
It's the Afternoon Drive with Philip and Skip on News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ.
The only radio station that helps me through a long day.
100 years of KMJ. Now more with Skip and Philip.
It's your afternoon drive on KMJ. Last call for your calls right now at 490-5858 or 800-776-5858. If there's anything that's gone down over the last 3 hours, 40 minutes that you want to discuss, get on it. Stephanie is. Welcome to KMJ, Stephanie. Good afternoon.
Thank you for taking my call. I too have struggled with what to do with the judicial part of my ballot.
Yeah.
And a while back, Ray had Mr. Dermanuel on his show, and I respect his opinions. And he had mentioned 3 of them that would be associate judge. He'd mentioned Hill, Levy, and Jennifer something or other. But on the others, he also mentioned a place to go was calmatters.org. calmatters.org. And I went there, and again, it was kind of bare information, but it does can tell you who appointed them. And for the first one, for the Chief Justice of California, she was nominated by Gavin Newsom.
Yeah.
And so depending on your leaning, that might tell you something. And then there was, so the first 4 on my ballot, I went and I was able to check those on calmatters.org. And it did tell me who nominated them. And that told me what their leaning might be. And so anyway, that was good information for me. I ended up being able to fill in all my bubbles. So I was happy about that. I finally had some information on where to get that.
Stephanie,
Right,
that's fantastic input. I really appreciate you picking up the phone tonight. Have a good weekend.
Hey, one quick thing for Skip. Mayo, yes.
Mayo, yes. See, she knows.
Boo.
She knows. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie.
I was like, what do we? It took. I caught it though. She's right. Mayo. Gosh,
No.
that's one condiment that I could. What's your favorite condiment?
Well, that's completely dependent upon context.
Well, mayo is the versatile one. Mayo and barbecue sauce.
Oh, no, our barbecue sauce is infinitely more versatile than mayo. Mayonnaise, you if it gets warm, it turns into poison.
Yeah, I mean, look, I like to live dangerously.
No. I had an experience with a breakfast sandwich off a taco truck when I was working for Scott Company Sheet Metal on the Trauma Stack in downtown Fresno at CRMC, and I will not forget an entire afternoon in the Porta-John because that mayonnaise spent too much time in the sunshine. Nope,
okay, well,
not doing that
You got to
again.
keep an eye on that, but still, mayo, you can eat it on a sandwich. You can eat it on one of those hot dogs you buy from the vendor outside of a concert. It's delicious, bacon-wrapped hot dog with a little bit of mayo. Trust me, I got Mr. Skip one. He's a believer.
No.
Now, if just In-N-Out would put it on their sandwich,
No, they're not
burgers.
going to because their burgers are good and they don't want to ruin them. Here, I think, is the test. I know that like the English dip fries in mayonnaise.
Yeah,
which is
That's
already a red
basically
flag.
what ranch is.
Ranch is sour cream with seasoning.
It's mayo. It's mayo and buttermilk and seasoning.
It's sour cream, buttermilk, and seasoning.
No, it's mayo.
Look it up.
Mr.
I know I'm
Skip
right.
makes restaurant grade.
So did Mrs. Teresi.
We buy the mayo for it, and we buy the
Disgusting.
fat mayo.
No.
Mayo and milk.
No, sour cream, heavy cream, seasoning.
Anyway, it's all the same.
Clearly it's not. Here's the thing. There are applications for barbecue sauce in almost every genre of food. There are variations of barbecue sauce across every sort of cuisine. Mayonnaise is a French salad dressing that has been reassigned the role of bread moistener.
It's delicious. By the way, according to the internet, the USDA, ranch dressing is an American salad dressing usually made from buttermilk, garlic, salt, onion, mustard, herbs, spices mixed with a sauce based on mayonnaise or another oil emulsion. Sour cream and yogurt are sometimes used in addition to or substitute for buttermilk and mayonnaise.
Sour cream ranch is better ranch.
Dude, you have to buy the high grade restaurant mayo for it. It's delightful. Anyway, I forgot how we got on that subject. Oh, favorite
because
condiments.
Stephanie put out the throw.
Oh, that's right. Thank you, Stephanie. I love Stephanie's call because she had serious stuff go to Cal Matters to find out about judges, and also that mayo is delicious.
All right. Apparently, this whole thing is just coming completely off the rails at this point. I've got Mark Capitan, host of the Mark Capitan Saturdays on KMJ at noon, who, by the way, will be talking with retired Marine Dan Payne about the state of the United States military today and the Veterans Day Parade, which is coming up on Veterans Day, the 11th, next Friday, week from today. Biggest in the country. Checking in via text, Capitan on the sandwich thing. Mike's Tri-Tip, Cedar and Herndon. I didn't realize he was still there.
So I've heard about that, and it's this little pop-up place, or not pop-up. It's one of those super small, like they literally are just cooking it right there and then handing it through a window.
I think he appropriated an old photo booth. Yeah.
Okay.
But no.
I have heard good things and never made my way over there. Would you eat that Tri-Tip though? Because I know you're not a huge Tri-Tip fan.
He cooks it right.
Okay, so
he cooks it right. If I'm going to do Tri-Tip, it's going to be Mike's.
Okay.
Anything from Sam's Deli or Pamonti's,
Yes,
100% on Sam's Deli. Sandwich Works, fresh baked turkey every day for the past 35 years. I'm not familiar with them.
Okay,
but
I think I've heard of them before.
And then, of course, if you want French bread, there's one place to go, Labou.
Oh, okay, that's right over here.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah. No. Oh man, I love good crusty bread. All right, Rod is in on this really important topic. Welcome to the show.
How you doing, guys?
Hungry. How are you?
Yeah. Me too. Skip, I'm like you. I could live on sandwiches. I love good sandwiches. So here's a couple of more places for you. Of course, chain Jersey Mike's they make really good sandwiches.
Yeah, they do.
And the other place that opened recently, they've got two in town. One on the west side somewhere, I think it's over by Dave & Buster's. But the one over here in Clovis is off by the Tractor Supply at Fowler and Herndon, and it's called West Coast Sourdough.
Yes, we have one out on Shaw and Marks. I think it is a chain, but yeah, they have really good sourdough, the soup bowls, all that kind of stuff. You're right. That is a good one. Yep.
You said you like good crusty bread. They have probably the best bread You can buy the bread from them. Just buy the bread if you're doing your own soup bowls and stuff like that too. And also, just as an aside on that part, Philip, you were talking about tomato soup. They have every day. They have a tomato bisque that is really, really good, and they always have clam chowder. And I have found that if you mix them 50-50, it's really good.
Oh, that's interesting. That's kind of like a Manhattan chowder, I guess. Thank you for that, Rod. I'm so hungry.
Right, Rod, excellent call, dude. But yeah, I agree with the sourdough shop. That's. I took the kid in there. I forget what we were doing on that side of town, but that was a worthy stop as well. Sandwiches are easy to get right, but which is more important, the bread or the filling?
Oh, wow.
Our final check of traffic, southbound 99 in Madera at Avenue 12. Still got slow-moving traffic, and northbound 99 at Avenue 7, between that and Avenue 9, you got some slow traffic there. Farmersville, on Farmersville Boulevard, the off-ramp from Avenue 295, they're cleaning up from a non-injury accident. I'm Greg Lane, KMJ Traffic.
Hi, this is Julie Vo with Roger Vo's Performance Auto Diesel and Air, your dealership alternative, proudly serving the Central Valley for more than 46 years. We have the expert staff and diagnostic capabilities to take care of whatever type of vehicle you drive: gas, diesel, flex fuel, car, truck, SUV, RV, or motor coach. We're proud to be a AAA approved facility, a GM and Ford quality installer with a nationwide 2-year or 24,000 mile warranty program. From routine maintenance services to diagnostics and major repairs, even Titan auxiliary fuel tank installations. If you've even thought about a performance upgrade, ask for JJ, our performance expert. Air conditioning repairs and part sales? We do that. We offer a courtesy shuttle service. Vehicle pickup and delivery is also available. Call Rose and she'll happily take care of the rest. 635-3288. That's 635-3288. Roger Vo's Performance Auto Diesel and Air. The best thing about living in Visalia.
And sponsored by Open Jar Concepts. Attention, this is an important message for anyone that has been diagnosed with cancer after being exposed to Roundup or other weed killers. The Internal Agency for Research on Cancer warned that overexposure to Roundup and other weed killers may increase the risk of developing non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Monsanto, the manufacturer of Roundup, may have known that Roundup and other weed killers were likely linked to organ damage and cancer. This information was hidden from the public as proprietary trade secret since 1981, and Monsanto may have failed to warn of the potential risk of cancer. If you or a loved one has been diagnosed with cancer after being exposed to Roundup or other weed killers, you may be entitled to significant compensation. Call us now at 800-711-4187. Our network of attorneys are ready to fight for you, and you'll pay nothing unless there's a recovery in your favor. Call now for a free consultation at 800-711-4187. You must protect your legal rights. Call 800-711-4187. Again, 800-711-4187.
This is Fresno County District Attorney Lisa Smitkamp. More than ever, we need local elected officials who are willing to take a tough stance against crime in our community. That's why I'm supporting Matt Baskell for Clovis City Council. Matt has a proven record of fighting crime. As police chief in the city of Clovis, Matt Baskell worked closely with my office to help keep Clovis safe. Proven results do matter. That's why I'm encouraging you to vote for Matt Baskell for Clovis City Council.
This is retired police chief and candidate for Clovis City Council, Matt Baskell. Clovis is a very special place to live and raise a family, and I want to keep it that way. I've lived here for over 30 years. My wife Joni and I raised our family here, and I want your family to have the same opportunities that we had. Good schools, clean neighborhoods, and safe streets. That is why I am running for Clovis City Council, and I would appreciate your vote. Paid for by Matt Baskell for Clovis City Council 2022.
Prepare your senses for everything the 17th Annual Fresno Fall Home Improvement Show has to offer. Sponsored by Balanced Comfort Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing this weekend at the Fresno Fairgrounds. Experience the astonishing sights, the intriguing sounds, the mouth-watering tastes, and the luxurious smells. Stroll through the Tiny House Expo and get a glimpse of what life is like living tiny. Learn from the experts on gardening, flowers, kitchen and bath, landscaping, and more. Indulge yourself in gourmet food, then sample craft spirits from the Cocktail Corner. Shop a unique collection of beautiful, locally handcrafted products spread throughout the Makers Market. From tiny to traditional, the Fresno Fall Home Improvement Show and Tiny House Expo has something for everyone. Let us inspire you and help improve your home one project at a time. Experience it for yourself at the Fresno Home Show this weekend at the Fresno Fairgrounds. More info at fresnoshows.com. That's fresnoshows.com.
The most streamed station in the Valley. PCs, phones, smart speakers, and KMJNow.com.
Everything that happens in Fresno's got to run the gauntlet of KMJ. It is such a blessing for you all to have what you have. It's been 100 years of communicating with your community. There's nothing like that for 1,000 miles.
And so ends our broadcast day.
We're about ready to wrap this up here on KMJ. If you missed any part of the afternoon drive this week, you can go ahead and get the podcast available at KMJNow.com after the show. That's Philip. I'm Skip. And I know the feeling, the scary feeling when you get a piece of mail that's from the IRS, because you're like, oh no.
It's happening.
What is happening? They're coming after me. Never do I anticipate it will be good news. Ever. Oh, we messed something up, or oh this, or oh that, whatever. There could be a possibility that actually that mail sitting in your mailbox, if you get it, has some good news in it.
Yeah. It turns out that about 9 million people may qualify for thousands of dollars worth of stimulus payments and tax credits.
Those who received the letters were identified by the Treasury's Office of Tax Analysis. Typically, these are individuals who aren't qualified to file their taxes because they have very low incomes. However, there still could be the opportunity. It's yours. They announced that certain Americans can still claim money for the 2021 Recovery Rebate Credit, Tax Child Credit, and Earned Income Tax Credit.
You got until November 17th to take advantage of Free File to claim your benefits, and that's available on the IRS website up to that November deadline. The tax agency also says that people who believe they're eligible for these benefits but haven't filed a 2021 tax return can do so on the Child Tax Credit website. The rules on some of this stuff are so Byzantine that it becomes impossible to know. There's another round of checks coming out for folks who got not necessarily just that child tax credit check that we got, but those stimulus checks that came out during the pandemic. If you got those checks, you may have more money coming from the IRS, but they've got it broken down by last name, I think, was part of it. When you filed was part of it. How you filed dictates part of it. And if you received a refund electronically, it'll just be direct deposited. But if you sent a check,
and if you owed money, so you never got any sort of refund, where do you fall on that list?
Yeah,
it makes me a little more excited about opening the mail, but I'm not getting my hopes up. My big plan is to win Powerball.
That drawing is Saturday. We're 39 draws now. $1.5 billion was the last number that I had heard about Powerball. Have we checked on that?
No. Do you have that on your phone for research purposes, right?
Yeah, I had to check my tickets. So $1.6 billion. Cash payout on that would be $782,400,000 if you want to take the cash value. Mega Millions, which is drawing tonight, $119 million.
I'm okay with that.
And Super Lotto Plus, a humble $39 million, also drawing on Saturday.
I'm also okay with that one.
What I'm fascinated by is, these jackpots get so high that you start seeing thousands and thousands of people who otherwise don't gamble.
Oh, this is the only kind of gambling I do.
Yeah, at this point, me too. But you've got so many people who turn up and buy them because, oh my God, the jackpot's $1 billion. And it keeps going. It really paints just how long that 1 in 293 million odds are.
But maybe there's a chance.
We got to go. The great one, Mark Levin, is going to roll up after an update of headlines. from the ABC newsroom. Before that, we'll hear from our friends at the Valley's Legends and Legacies. Guys, thank you for your calls, for your time, and for your attention. Have a safe and dry weekend. Don't forget, Election Day's Tuesday. If you're going to go by mail or drop box, get her done sooner rather than later. And we will be back Monday afternoon at 2 o'clock on KMJ.
Bye.